Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto is the son of Kakashi's teammates and watches over part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. In a large cavern, Kakashi Haddock stands between three Iwa ninja and his teammates, breathing hard and unable to see with his left eye. The Iwa ninjas start making hand signs. He's unable to hear the name over the sound of the earth ripping apart. Boulders start falling from the ceiling and the enemy ninja run from the cavern. The boulders are falling all around Kakashi as he tries to get to his teammates. Obito stood next to Rin as he watched Kakashi dodge boulder after boulder. He looked at the ceiling and saw which was going to fall next and knew that his Sharingan had finally activated. He also knew where it was going to fall and saw that Kakashi wouldn't be able to get out of the way in time. He ran forward and threw Kakashi out from under the falling rock but was caught under it himself. A sickening cracking sound rang out in the now still cavern. Obito, Rin and Kakashi came running up to him. The right side of his body was smashed under the boulder. "Why did you do it?" Obito tried to smile. "I told you, Kakashi, being on a team means looking out for each other." Blood ran out the side of his mouth. "Rin, I want you to implant my Sharingan into Kakashi's left eye socket." "I won't let you." "Shut up and be grateful, Kakashi, it will take care of that tunnel vision problem you got with Chidori. Think of it as a gift for becoming a Jonin. At least I put it to good use first." "Do it, Rin." Rin was crying as she removed his eye and replaced Kakashi's useless one. "They will pay for this, Obito, I swear." "I don't care about them, make sure Rin stays safe, that's all I want." "Obito, I have to tell you something." Kakashi took this as his cue to leave and went to start moving the rocks blocking their way out. "What is it, Rin?" "I'm pregnant, I found out the day before we left." "You should have asked to be taken off the mission, not only are you endangering yourself, but the baby too." "They would have wanted an explanation, then both our families would have found out." "Don't let my family have the child. Only tell Sensei, Kakashi, and your uncle Jiraiya, they will keep you both safe. I wish I could help raise our child." The sound of chirping birds and horrific screams came from the exit. Sounds like Kakashi found them. "Rin, you need to get going, more will show up soon." "I can't leave you here." "The other Sharingan is gone, no matter what they try they won't get it." "I don't give a rat's ass about that. I love you and I won't leave you here." "You don't have a choice, this boulder isn't going to move. Could you give me 2 explosive tags?" "What are you going to do?" "Take as many of them with me as I can. It should also make a big enough distraction for the two of you to get away." She placed 2 in his hand and kissed him, ignoring the blood. "I love you, Obito." "I love you too, now go before any more show up." He hears her leave and hoped she wouldn't come back. He placed the tags one on top of the other and waited. He heard what sounded like people running. Who could have done this? "Go check the girl." The running resumed and stopped near him. "We got a live one, he's from Leaf and his eye's gone. One of our ninja must have got him, he'll be dead soon." Obito smirked. "So will you." Boom. The explosive tag started to glow and the explosion engulfed the whole cavern, killing the Iwa ninja and finishing off Obito. An explosion shook the earth, making Kakashi and Rin stop. "What the hell was that?" "Obito." Rin's eyes welled up with tears and the pain was obvious on her face. "Let's keep going, we need to report to Sensei." Rin nodded and followed Kakashi away from where her lover had sacrificed himself. They moved through the treetops quickly and quietly, moving toward the Leaf base. As they continued to move, Kakashi felt more tired the further he went. "It's the Sharingan, it's burning through my chakra. I can't turn it off, so how do I stop it?" "Wait, the reason it's using chakra is because it's still copying everything it sees. So if I cover it then it should stop draining me." He pulled his headband over his left eye. Rin saw him do this, but decided it'd be better to ask him later. And he's not considered a genius for nothing. They landed just outside the base and went straight to where Yondaime was. Yondaime smiled when he saw them. "Kakashi, I know you can't use your eye, but isn't that a little much?" He saw Rin and the sadness she felt before realizing that his third student wasn't with them. His smile fell. "What happened?" "Rin was kidnapped and Obito and I went to rescue her, we were attacked by 3 Iwa ninja. They caused the ceiling of the cave to collapse and Obito pushed me out from under one but was crushed by it, well half of him was. He was able to use the Sharingan to predict where it was going to fall. He finally activated his Sharingan." "Yes, and had Rin transplanted into me." He raised his headband to reveal the red eye with 3 swirling tomos. "I killed the ones that did it with Chidori." He saw the anger on his sensei's face. "I know what you said, but the Sharingan cancels out the tunnel vision. Rin has something she's been hiding as well." Yondaime looked at the young woman. "Sensei, what I say can't leave this place." "Alright, what is it?" "I'm pregnant with Obito's child." He didn't want his family to know, and mine couldn't care less about my actions. I won't tell them, but I need to take you off of active duty. I understand, thank you for keeping this secret. 8.5 months after Obito's death, Rin sat in a bed at the hospital of Konoha with Yondaime and Kakashi in the room and her son in her arms. The war finally ends only for a demon fox to attack. My time as Hokage going to be remembered as the worst in history. Sensei, you are a hero of the war, and no one could have predicted that Kyuubi would suddenly attack. You're not to blame, and if anyone can stop Kyuubi's rampage, it's you. Thank you, Rin. So have you decided on a name for him? I was hoping that you would allow him to use Uzumaki as his family name. Yondaime smiled. Of course he can, but what about his given name? I couldn't think of a proper name, could you two help me pick one? How about Heisei? The other two sent looks at him that seemed say what the hell are you thinking? Kakashi, why would you suggest that the child's name be Whirlpool? Kakashi started to laugh nervously. Yondaime smiled. How about Naruto? Sensei, I'm not going to name him after something in ramen, in fact I'm going to try to keep him away from it as much as possible. And sorry, I couldn't resist. But ramen's the best food there is. Besides, that's not the only meaning for Naruto. What else does it mean? Maelstrom. It's fitting since he was born the day Kyuubi attacked. I'll think about it. A ninja runs into the room. Yondaime, Kyuubi has decimated the front line, it's nearing the village. Damn it. What the hell happened to cause this? Kakashi, gather as many ninja as you can and finish evacuating the civilians. Kakashi ran from the room. Sorry Rin, I see you later. All she saw was a yellow blur leave the room and then she heard the roar of the beast. Yondaime stands on top of a giant toad's head, staring at the Kyuubi. Kyuubi, what has caused you to attack? You attacked me. We have done no such thing. The man that smelled of snakes warrior symbol, bring him to me and I will not destroy your pathetic village. A man that smells of snakes. No, he can't mean Orochimaru. Kyuubi, I know the man you speak of, but I can't bring him to you. Then your village will burn. Kyuubi ran towards the toad. Gamabunta, you think you can hold him long enough for me to reason with him? I can try. Gamabunta pulled his short sword to block Kyuubi's tails. You can't beat me human. I don't wish to fight you. That man is no long part of this village, he better eat us. Lies, you are trying to trick me to save your village. I am trying to save my home, but these are not lies. The man you seek is named Orochimaru and he would do anything to destroy us. I will have none of your lies human. Kyuubi sent all 9 tails towards Gamabunta and struck him with 3 of them. When he hit the ground the earth shook and several buildings collapsed. Gamabunta was having a hard time get back to his feet and Kyuubi slowly moved toward him. I give you one last chance to bring me this Orochimaru. I outrightly told you he's not here. I don't believe you, I hurt him badly in our last confrontation. He must be here or he wouldn't survive. I believe that you call it a hospital, that where he is. Kyuubi turned his back on Gamabunta and walked away towards the hospital. No, Rin's there. Gamabunta, we have to stop him. There are a lot of injured people there and most can't be moved. We both know this has to do with the girl, so don't lie to me. The toad finally gets back to his feet and in one massive leap, he stands between Kyuubi and the hospital. Kakashi watches from a far rooftop as the fox and toad do battle. He then realizes where the Kyuubi was heading. We can't let it get there. Obito would never forgive me and I would be unworthy of his eye. He jumped to street level and ran towards the fox making hand signs as he went. The sound of chirping birds was drowned out by the sound of the battle. He ran up the fox's hind leg and it didn't seem to notice him until he started to drag his arm behind him, cutting the fox along the back. The fox roared in pain and tried to hit him with its tails. Kakashi dodged each attempt and continued towards the head. When he reached it he was about to stab his hand into the fox, but it shook him off and swatted him with a tail. Gamabunta grabbed Kakashi with his tongue and placed him next to Yondaime. Kakashi, you're no match for him. I had to do something. He pulled his headband back over the Sharingan. I know, but there's not much either of us can do. There has to be something. There's only one thing I can think of, but I would rather not have to resort to it. There was a loud roar and an enormous cloud of smoke. Once the smoke cleared a purple snake equal in size to Gamabunta emerged. What the hell are you doing here man? Orochimaru sent me to help you. A loud growl came from Kyuubi. I knew you spoke lies human. You are trying to make a fool of me, Kyuubi on Kitsune. Damn you Orochimaru. Kakashi, it seems we no longer have a choice, I need you to go get Rin's son. Kakashi's visible eye widened. You're not planning on using that are you? It will kill you. I don't have a choice, if Konoha is to survive then I must stop Kyuubi. This is the only way now that Manda is here. Reluctantly, Kakashi takes off towards the hospital. Obito, Rin, please forgive me for what I'm about to do. The medics were having trouble keeping up with the number of wounded and Rin couldn't sit by while they needed help. She moved over to a patient that was not seriously wounded but could no longer fight. "Please, will you watch him? I'm going to go help in whatever way I can." The boy was in Uchiha, she knew that, but was still surprised that he was a chunin at his age. Most his age were just graduating from the academy, even with 2 years being taken off due to the war. He nodded and she handed him her son. She left the room and found the nearest medic. "Sir, where do you need the most help?" "I can't send you, you gave birth only a few hours ago. You need help, and by the look of things, most of your people are running low on chakra. Yondame's going to kill me for doing this." "Alright, there's a small group of medic ninjas stationed not far from here, they have several critical patients, but not enough staff. Unfortunately, it's near the battlefield." "I understand." She leaps out of the window and runs along the damaged rooftops. She saw that the fox was moving toward the hospital and then watched as Gamabunta landed between the two. The quake produced by said landing almost knocked her off her feet. That's when she saw the blue glow moving along the fox's back. Kakashi. The blue light faded as one of the fox's tails whipped forward. She was too far away to see why, but could see that Gamabunta caught something with his tongue. She didn't have long to think about it as she remembered the reason she left the hospital and started moving again. She reached her destination a few minutes later, the fox had already passed it by. Just as she was about to enter the tent, there was a loud roar that made her wheel around. Her eyes widened at the sight of the massive purple snake. She hurried inside and saw that 2 of the medics had passed out from chakra depletion. She immediately started performing healing jutsu on one unlucky man who had a deep gash on his chest and had been covered in other injuries, none of which were nearly as severe. Kakashi had just made it to the hospital and found that Rin wasn't in her room. He found her son sitting on an assumed boy that Kakashi recognized. "Itachi, where's the boy's mother?" "I don't know Kakashi, she went to help the medics. She asked me to watch him." "I see, thank you for doing so, but I need to take him." Itachi nodded and handed him the boy. When Kakashi reached the window, the sight of blue flames greeted him. Kyuubi, surprisingly, had not continued his attack, it was almost like he was waiting for them to attempt an attack against him. Yondaime knew better, he was charging up for an attack of devastating proportions. "Gamabunta, we have to stop him from gather any more energy." "I'm open for suggestions, nothing I've tried has worked." Blue flames appeared at the tip of all 9 tails. "I'm tired of waiting. You lied to me, you tried to trick me, and even as your village lies in ruins, you refuse to give me the one I want." The flames join together and begin to expand. Kitsune Bai. The blue flames spread outward in a circle destroying everything it touches. Manda, already being outside the range of the attack, simply stares at Kyuubi, while Gamabunta has to jump to avoid being burnt. All the combatants were unaware that there were still people in the area. "Gamabunta, as much as I know you hate Manda, he's still here and it's worth a shot to ask him for help." The toad says nothing but makes his way over to the snake. "Manda, I know no one commands you, especially not me, but I need your help. I beg you to help me defeat this demon. You are an arrogant human, but you know when to sell your pride." "Very well, what did you want me to do?" "Thank you Manda, I request that you wrap around the beast to hold him long enough for my student to return with the child. After he returns, it is important that you release him or you may be sealed as well." The snake nods and slithers toward the fox. The toad moves in front of the fox to draw his attention so Manda can do his job. The snake coiled tightly around the fox, even the tails, and used its jaws to restrict him from moving his head. "You will pay for this, no snake or toad will be spared." Kakashi had finally made it back to the battlefield and ran up the large toad's back. "Sensei, I have the boy, but Rin wasn't with him. She went to help the medics, I don't know where she is." Yondaime sighs. "I hope she can forgive me." He takes the newborn from Kakashi and turns back to the fox. "Manda, you can release him now." The snake disappeared in a cloud of smoke and the fox stood silent. Yondaime started doing hand signs and the fox charged them. "Kakashi, I need you to move away from here." The Jonin nodded and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. He finished the hand signs and a Shinigami appeared behind him. He looked down at the boy in his arms. "Forgive me." The Shinigami's arm reached through Yondaime's stomach and into the fox. With a great amount of effort, the fox's soul was ripped from his body and placed inside of the newborn boy. Gamabunta used his tongue to place the 2 humans on the ground as Yondaime's life faded. The toad looked down at the baby, his body was already beginning to adapt to the fox's presence. The only outward characteristics were 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek and a seal that appeared over his navel. "I wish you luck kid." The toad disappeared in the same fashion as the snake had as Kakashi arrived. The boy was sleeping on Yondaime's chest. He picked up the child in one hand and carried his sensei's body over his other shoulder. It was a strange sight to behold as he made his way to the Hokage tower where the Sandaime was. I'm sorry to inform you, sir, Yondaime sacrificed his own life to stop the Kyuubi. He sealed it inside of Rin's son. That's unfortunate. Where is the boy's mother? I don't know, I was told she went to help the medics, but I don't know where. Does he have any other relatives, in case the worst has happened? He does, but it was both of his parents' wish that he not be taken by either family. Why would they not want him to know his family? This can't leave this room. Sandaime used a jutsu to soundproof the office. He's an Uchiha, Obito's his father. The council cannot know of his heritage or the fox, or they would force the boy to be a living weapon, that is something I will not allow. I understand, but Rin must be told what her son contains. The office door burst open and a battered Anbu walked in. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm here to inform you that several medic ninja were lost as well as their charges. The doctor in charge of distributing the help gave me a list of the medics there. He walked over and placed the list in front of Sandaime. Many ninja were lost today, why is this so important? I believe that you would be interested in the last name added to it, the doctor remembered Yondaime meeting with her before the attack. If I am wrong, please forgive me. He bowed and left the office, shutting the door behind him. Sandaime picked up the list and went straight to the last name, his eyes widened. Kakashi, I'm sorry to say, but the boy's an orphan. Kakashi ran over and took the list, there at the bottom was Rin's name. The cloth of his headband grew wet, his left eye was crying. Does the boy have a name? Naruto Uzumaki. They had tried to keep both secrets about Naruto, but the truth about the fox had somehow found its way to the surface. For the first 3 years of his life, he lived with the Sandaime, but once they found out about the fox that couldn't be tolerated. At 5 years old, Naruto had to have an Anbu following him to make sure nothing happened to him, the villagers were merciless when it came to him. They had nearly killed him once before and Sandaime wouldn't allow that to happen again. The one person who always seemed to be watching over him was someone Naruto had come to enjoy the company of, he said his name was Itachi. Naruto spent most of his time with Kakashi, in doing so he met several other ninja. After a while they saw that he couldn't possibly be Kyuubi and relaxed when he was around. The ones he saw most often were Kurina Yuhi, Asuma Sarutobi, Hiroki Yamino, Anko Midarashi, Ibiki Marino, and Guy. The last 3 scared the hell out of him for different reasons. And who wouldn't be scared, especially of Guy. Currently, he was walking down the street, his hands stuffed in his pockets. Happy birthday to me, not like many people care. He sighs. I gotta get home before someone finds me. What the hell did I do to them anyways? And that's what happens when you let a kid hang out with Anko. He had almost made it home, but when he turned the corner he found several people there, all staring at him with cold obsidian eyes. As soon as he saw them he turned around and ran the way he had come from. He moved through the maze of streets with ease, but the people were following him on the rooftops, unaware that the Anbu member was watching. He soon lost trace of what part of town he was in and accidentally ran into a dead-end alleyway. You have nowhere left to run. He turned around to find the group he was running from. Today you die, demon. The man at the front ran forward with a kunai in his hand. The man seemed to be running in slow motion and he dodged the first attempt. Obviously, the man was a little surprised. You got lucky, demon, it won't happen again. The rest of the group was tired of just watching and attacked Naruto at the same time. The wall of fire separated the attackers and Naruto. Before Naruto knew what had happened, he was in the arms of a man standing on a roof overlooking the alleyway. Are you alright, Naruto? Yeah, thanks Itachi, the one guy was moving pretty slow, but I don't think I could have dodged them all. Sorry, you always have to save me. But alright, I told your mother I'd watch over you. My mother? Yeah, before you ask though, I don't know her name, but I'm pretty sure Kakashi does. The boy smiled and looked up at Itachi. Behind his mask, Itachi's eyes widened when he saw red eyes with one tomo in each. The Sharingan, how is that possible? The boy passed out in his arms. Itachi removed his mask, 3 tomos in each eye swirling. How dare you call yourselves Uchihas, let alone Konoha military police force. You have to gang up to attack a child. That thing is no child, it's a demon and should be killed. Just because he contains a demon doesn't mean that he is one. Father and the Hokage will hear of this. You will all be punished for your actions, even you Shisui. Shisui is Itachi's best friend. With a swirl of leaves Itachi and the unconscious Naruto disappeared. There was a knocking on the door and reluctantly Kakashi put his orange book down and opened it. Itachi stood there with Naruto in his arms. He's only unconscious. You have some explaining to do, both to him and me. Itachi went inside and Kakashi closed the door. Who is he really? What do you mean? He activated the Sharingan. I was hoping he would get that until he was older. Alright, but this can't become public knowledge. Do you remember Obito Uchiha? I believe he was my father's cousin, why? He's Naruto's father, he didn't want your clan to know because Naruto would have lost his childhood. You must have wished for one at some point. I think that you made the right choice in keeping this a secret, it would be even harder on him than Sasuke. The ones that were attacking him when it activated were Uchihas. Disgraces, but Uchihas nonetheless. Did they see it? I don't think they noticed it, but if they did, the elders will convince my father to turn him into some sort of weapon to use against any who oppose the clan. Still, for him to develop even the first stage at his age is a rarity. I was afraid the council would do the same, even if they just knew about the fox. If they were to learn of both, not even the Hokage could keep him safe from them. I agree, I'll leave him in your care. When he wakes up he'll probably ask about his mother, I told him I had met her, but I never learned her name. Thank you for keeping him safe. I told his mother I would, and even if I didn't know it, he's family. Itachi handed Naruto over to Kakashi and left. He laid Naruto on the couch before going back to his book. It was already dark put when Naruto finally woke up. Where am I? He looked around. It looks like Kakashi's place, Itachi must have brought me here. He looked around some more, and sure enough, there was Kakashi reading his perverted book. Glad to see you're awake, Naruto. He never looked up from his book. Itachi said, you may have known my mother, I want to know about her. Yes, I knew her, both your parents actually. They were my teammates. Why didn't you tell me before? First of all, you're 6 years old, if I told you before now, you probably wouldn't remember me doing so. Second, they're a difficult subject for me to talk about, your father died saving me, and your mother died when I had promised to protect her. I'm the last member of my team, even my sensei died. He died to protect this village by stopping Kyuubi. Kakashi sighed. There's something I want to show you, follow me. They stood up and Kakashi led Naruto into his bedroom. He picked up a picture off his dresser and gave it to Naruto. That's my old team, it was taken the day after we became a team, so that's when they were about 12, they were just about 18 when you were born. How did I end up blonde? I'm not sure, but Rin's hair was nothing like her parents either, one had black and other had white. Obito had black hair like everyone else in his clan. If you had just told me I was related to someone in this picture, I would have guessed Yondaime. Kakashi laughs. You do look a lot like him. Why does my mom have those marks on her cheeks? I've seen something like them but they're not the same. You've seen the Inyazuka clan, her father was part of their clan. Her mother was the sister of Yondaime's sensei, Jiraiya. The marks are birthmarks that resulted from the two clan marks fusing. You said dad was part of a clan too, which one? Obito was in Uchiha. Like Itachi. Yes. If I have family, why do I live by myself? They don't know. Only Sandaime, myself, and now Itachi know. Your father didn't want the Uchiha clan to raise you because you wouldn't have a childhood, they would decide everything you did. Your mom was disowned by the Inyazuka clan because she couldn't perform the basic techniques like the Shikyaku no Jutsu. That makes no fucking sense. Who cares if she couldn't, they're supposed to be a family. I agree with you, Naruto, but to them she was a disgrace to the clan. They pride themselves for those techniques, as the Hyugas do their Juken and the Uchihas do their fire jutsu. It still doesn't make sense, she had to be good at something. She was one of the best medical ninja this village has ever produced, probably only second to Tsunade. They couldn't be happy with that. Apparently not. Sadness filled the young boy's eyes. My mother died during the fox's attack, didn't she? Yes, she was treating the injured when the fox let off some widespread attack. Then you couldn't have protected her, it took Yondaime's life to kill it. You would have died too and I would have been alone. I would never have known who I really am or who my parents were. Naruto, you have always been you, but because you now know, I can tell you that you have the Sharingan. Itachi saw it before you passed out. You activated the first stage. When you have it turned on, things will seem to slow down and let you see through Jinjutsu, depending on the skill of the one using it. The second will allow you to copy techniques you see, Taijutsu, Ninjutsu or Jinjutsu and use them if you physically can. The final stage will allow you to predict how an opponent is going to move, except for the quickest opponents. It also has hypnosis abilities, suggesting actions, making someone sleep and replaying memories to someone else or having them relive their own. You have the Sharingan, does that make you an Uchiha too? No. In fact, they don't like me much because I have it. How do you have it if you're not an Uchiha? It's your father's, he had your mother implanted into me when he was dying. There are some problems that came along with it though, I can't turn it off and because I'm not an Uchiha, the amount of chakra it uses it quite a bit more. That's why I always have it covered unless I need it. You said I only activated the first stage, how do I get the others? I'm not sure, but I'm sure Itachi will help you if you ask him. Be sure to only ask when there is no one else around. If people knew you are Uchiha, you would be taken by the clan. Naruto nodded smiling. So, what would you like for dinner? Ramen. Sorry Rin, it seems he's hooked. Alright, but there will be more than that. You can't live on just ramen, you need to eat some vegetables too. The boy groaned and Kakashi smiled under his mask. Father, they are disgraces to the Uchiha name. For what? Trying to kill the demon that terrorized this village. He's a child. He ceased being human the moment that thing took his body. I will not punish them for doing it, and that's final. The people like those who attack him are the real demons. The Hokage knows what has happened and he does not share your view on this matter. Itachi left the room, knowing full well that his father was pissed. Would they feel the same way if they knew who he is? They probably try harder, not wanting him to ruin the clan name. Not that it could get much worse. They will pay for what they've done to Naruto, I swear. Hey Kakashi, do you think I'd be a good ninja? I think you could be one of the greatest, but to do that you would have to go through the academy. How old do I have to be to start in the academy? Actually, you're the right age, all you have to do is tell the Hokage you want to, but he's pretty busy right now, so we'll wait till tomorrow, okay? Alright. Kakashi, do you mind if I sleep here? I don't think I can get across town without being seen with the festival going on and all. That's fine, pleasant dreams Naruto. Naruto got up from the table and fell asleep on the couch. The first day at the academy, Naruto had arrived an hour before he needed to. Because he was early, he sat on the swing in front of the building. He heard barking, and a loud yell follows, the barking was moving closer. Hey Akamaru, what's gotten into you? The small dog stops in front of Naruto and growls. Knock it off Akamaru, leave him alone. Akamaru barks again and the boy opens his mouth, but Naruto speaks up first. So what if I smell like a fox? I train in the forest, and the smell was bound to stick to my clothes. The boy's jaw dropped. You can understand him. Yeah, kind of. I hear both the barking and the words behind it. Naruto noticed the red marks on his cheeks. You're an Inuzuka, right? Yeah, my name's Kiba. Who are you and how can you understand Akamaru? My name's Naruto Uzumaki and I'm not sure how I can understand him. Uzumaki, huh, I don't think I've heard that name before. Sorry about Akamaru. It's alright, I've had worse greetings. He's just being cautious. Why are you here by yourself? I'm starting at the academy today and I'm by myself because I'm an orphan. How about you? I'm also start at the academy, but my mom's on a mission and my sister watching the animals at my family's clinic. I'm not sure what time it is, but I'm pretty sure that they're not opening for a little while. Not for another hour or so. You're not planning on sitting out here till then, are you? I lose track of time really easily, if I leave, I'll probably be late. Probably pick that up for Kakashi, next I'll be reading those Icha books and wearing a mask. At least come and get something to eat, there's a ramen place not far from here. I know that place, Ichiraku Ramen Bar. The old man there's really nice and the food's great. I like the food too, but I like the girl more. She's twice our age. So, that isn't that big of a gap. That only makes her 12. True. Good luck with that though, her dad may be a cook, but I think he would kill you before letting you date her. Kiba just snorted and picked up Akamaru. He placed the dog on his head and started off towards the ramen stand. The two of them stepped under the flap and sat down. Tucci come out and smiled. This is a first Naruto, normally you don't come in until after 11. I'm going to the academy today. I'm just going to get 3 bowls of miso. Okay, and you? A large beef. Alright, they'll be out in a bit. Thanks old man. And keep my best customer waiting now can I? I don't come here that often. Maybe not, but when you do, you eat quite a bit. The voice came from behind them and a scarred man wearing a Chunin vest came in. Hey Iruka, going to join us? Sorry, but I can't today. I have to go get ready for class, in fact as of today, I'm your teacher. That's great, but don't lecture us too much, it's our first day. You know me Naruto. Which is why I said it. Kiba started laughing and Iruka waved as he left. AM came out of the kitchen and set down their orders. Thanks AM. Both boys were practically drooling, Naruto over the food and Kiba as he watched AM walk away. Kiba, if you don't eat it soon, it's gonna get cold. Kiba looked over at Naruto, who was starting his second bowl. His jaw dropped. What the hell, do you inhale it? I got 3 bowls, I don't want it to get cold, so I eat it fast. It was gone in less than a minute. I know it's noodles, but still, I surprise you don't joke. You got a large and if you want to be to class on time, you'd better start. Kiba broke apart the chopsticks and started eating. They made their way back toward the academy a half hour later. You're a bottomless pit Naruto, I think you could keep up with Akamichi in an eating contest. I seen some of them eating at the BBQ place downtown and there's no way in hell I could. And I do have limits, it's just that I rarely have enough money to reach them. When they arrived, they saw 2 girls standing outside, one with blonde hair the other with pink. Did you hear, there's an Uchiha in our class? Kiba groaned. What's so special about them, they're no better than anyone else. Naruto looked bored. You don't know anything. The blonde girl looked pissed and it made Kiba shudder. Naruto had seen worse by being around Anko. Actually girls, the Inuzuka is right, the only difference between us and everyone else is the Sharingan. The four children turned to see Itachi and a smaller version of him walking up to them. Hi Itachi. It's nice to see you're alright Naruto. This is my younger brother Sasuke, he's in your class. It's nice to meet you all. And obviously this is before the massacre, so Sasuke isn't an asshole yet. The girls were both blushing and were speechless. Kiba just grunted and went inside. Naruto walked over and held out his hand, which Sasuke shook. It's nice to meet you too Sasuke. A group of Hyugas walked past them, all of them glared at Naruto. They stood around a young Hyuga girl. Must be the heiress. Naruto shrugged off their glares and also went inside. Their first day consisted of learning what chakra was and how to mold it using hand signs. They didn't get to try any of it until a week later. They were called up one at a time to concentrate their chakra. Most of them did well, but as it was the first time they attempted it, some people didn't. They went by name, so Naruto went after Sasuke. Why does his chakra feel familiar? Unknown to him, deep within his mind a pair of blood-red eyes snapped open. Vandara. Naruto winced in pain and put a hand on his head. Iruka saw this and walked up to him. You alright Naruto? I'll be fine, it's just a headache. Iruka smiled and walked away, but kept a watchful eye on him. Naruto stood in front with his hands together and his eyes were closed. His chakra started swirling around him slowly increasing in speed, making the sound of a strong wind. It was the best display after Sakura, the pink-haired girl he had met the first day. She concentrated her chakra in her hand and made it glow. That's enough, good job Naruto. He smiled and made his way back to his seat barely opening his eyes. Kiba looked a little worried when he made it there. Naruto, you alright, your eyes have barely opened since you started the exercise. It's nothing, I just used a bit too much chakra. I'll be fine at a minute or two. Naruto didn't like lying to Kiba, but he knew he had to, at least for now. He felt that his eyes weren't drawing on chakra anymore and checked his reflection in the window to be sure. His eyes were back to normal and he looked towards the front of the classroom again. Alright class, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll be doing more reading on uses for chakra. Dismissed. The kid all stood up and made their way towards the door. I'll see you tomorrow Kiba. I'm gonna go home, I'm still kind of tired from earlier. Alright, see you tomorrow Naruto. Naruto was planning on going the long way home, so it was less likely to run into someone, but decided to go to the Hokage monument first. Naruto sat at the top of the Hokage monument looking over the village. Itachi, are you here? Yes I am Naruto. Is there anyone else around? No one from Anbu and no one else as far as I can tell. Good, because I want to ask you something that I was warned not to in public. What is it Naruto? I was wondering how to increase the number of tomos in the Sharingan. Time and experience. The more you use it the faster it develops. I would suggest that until you can put a Jinjutsu over them to train them in the woods trying to follow the movements of animals. Even when you can use Jinjutsu, you need to be careful about using it in public because most Chunin can sense Jinjutsu and higher ranks and other Uchihas can see through them. I understand, thank you Itachi. Why isn't Sasuke able to use the Sharingan yet? It normally manifests when the user is in a situation where it could prevent them from dying. Sasuke has never experienced something like that. That's kind of creepy. Itachi laughed. Yeah, but under those situations, it comes in handy. Thanks again Itachi. It's your birthright as much as it is mine. Itachi placed a hand on Naruto's head before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Naruto continued to look over the village and then he heard footsteps coming up behind him. He turned around to see two Sharingan eyes, but they didn't belong to Itachi. The man swung his fist at Naruto and the force behind it was so intense that it spun him around. The spinning made him step forward, but he went the wrong way and toppled over the side of the monument. The last thing he saw before falling unconscious was one of the craved heads coming up to meet him. Naruto opened his eyes to see the hospital ceiling that he was starting to get used to. He sat up and saw that Kakashi was asleep in the chair next to him, orange book in hand. What the hell happened? My whole body hurts. The door came bursting in and Anko and the Hokage came in. Holy shit he's alive. The yelling woke Kakashi up. What happened? You fell 50-some feet, it's a miracle you're even alive. If you can call it that. The Hokage and Anko thought the same thing as Kakashi spoke. Who the hell did this to him? I'm going to find him and rip his worthless throat out. I'm afraid you're too late Anko, the attacker, Shisui Uchiha, was found drowned 2 days ago, the day after the incident. Anko let out a string of curses and excused herself from the room. I've been here for 3 days. Iruka-sensei not going to be happy, I missed a lot of classes. The Hokage was whispering to Kakashi, whose eye was wide. Hey old man, would you mind if I left? That's fine Naruto, but there is one thing that I have to tell you before you go. Naruto looked straight at him. Kakashi has informed me that you know who your parents were and that he impressed how important it is that you not tell anyone. Naruto nodded. I'm sorry to say, but it's even more important after what happened last night. What do you mean, what happened? The entire Uchiha clan, except you and Sasuke, was slaughtered by Itachi. It's not true, Itachi would never do that. Sasuke witnessed him kill their parents. That doesn't mean anything. What about that henge thing we learned about, doesn't that make people look like other people? Yes it does, but it can't copy the effects of Kekkei Genkai like the Sharingan, he used it to make Sasuke fall asleep while he escaped. Why would he do that? We don't know. Naruto, you said you were going to ask Itachi about how to increase the number of tomos, did you? Naruto nodded slowly. Good, no one outside of the clan knew, and once Sasuke gets his, if he doesn't already know, someone will have to tell him. He'll question where the knowledge came from. If you aren't ready to tell him by then, we can say there was a scroll entrusted to me. Thanks old man. Can I leave? The Hokage nodded and Naruto walked out the door. After leaving the hospital, Naruto made his way to the academy, even though he knew that class had already been dismissed, he wanted to talk with Iruka. He walked through the deserted halls and made his way to where he had class. He slid open the door and Iruka was inside, he had a surprised look on his face, but he was also happy. Naruto, I'm glad to see you're alright. Yeah, not sure how, but I'm fine. Sorry I missed class. It's alright, you had a good reason, and you weren't the only one. Sasuke wasn't here today either, but that's understandable after what he went through. In fact, I'd be worried if he didn't take off a few days. Families shouldn't turn on each other, no matter what the reason. I agree with you Naruto, but there will always be those who resent members of their family, most of the time it's due to the difference in ability. Iruka-sensei, could you tell me what I missed? We're working on Bunshin, but you shouldn't have too much trouble catching up. I think I'm going to go home, see you tomorrow Iruka-sensei. Goodbye Naruto, try to be on time to class tomorrow. Naruto laughed. I'll try, but I think I spent too much time with Kakashi to do that. Just be sure you're here, Kiba's been moping every day you weren't here. Between him and Akamaru, it's a wonder anyone could hear me to learn anything. Naruto smiled and waved as he left. The next morning, Naruto decided that he would go early like he did on the first day, even though his body didn't agree with the decision. He sat on the branch that the swing was hanging from, with his back against the trunk. He watched as the kids started arriving, the first being Sakura and her blonde friend Ino. The Hyuga heiress, Hinata, and her normal escort, who left when she went inside, followed shortly after. Shino walked through the door looking at some insect on his arm, with a lazy Shikamaru and Choji behind him. Akamaru came running up to the tree and started barking, Kiba was running after him. Where the hell have you been man, it's been so dull. Sorry, I was in the hospital. Sasuke's not here today. Great, now his fangirls won't shut up. Naruto smiled. Iruka said that you wouldn't when I was gone. Shut up, I was worried about you, they'll be worried he's found someone other than one of them. We'll just have to put up with it, he probably won't be in for a few days. So you know why? Yeah, but it's not my place to say. Kiba just snorted and picked up Akamaru. Naruto jumped out of the tree and walked with him inside. The first day at the academy, Naruto had arrived an hour before he needed to. Because he was early, he sat on the swing in front of the building. He heard barking, and a loud yell follows, the barking was moving closer. Hey Akamaru, what's gotten into you? The small dog stops in front of Naruto and growls. Knock it off Akamaru, leave him alone. Akamaru barks again and the boy opens his mouth, but Naruto speaks up first. So what if I smell like a fox? I train in the forest, and the smell was bound to stick to my clothes. The boy's jaw dropped. You can understand him. Yeah, kind of. I hear both the barking and the words behind it. Naruto noticed the red marks on his cheeks. You're an Inuzuka, right? Yeah, my name's Kiba. Who are you and how can you understand Akamaru? My name's Naruto Uzumaki and I'm not sure how I can understand him. Uzumaki huh, I don't think I've heard that name before. Sorry about Akamaru. It's alright, I've had worse greetings. He's just being cautious. Why are you here by yourself? I'm starting at the academy today and I'm by myself because I'm an orphan. How about you? I'm also start at the academy, but my mom's on a mission and my sister watching the animals at my family's clinic. I'm not sure what time it is, but I'm pretty sure that they're not opening for a little while. Not for another hour or so. You're not planning on sitting out here till then are you? I lose track of time really easily, if I leave, I'll probably be late. Probably pick that up for Kakashi, next I'll be reading those Icha books and wearing a mask. At least come and get something to eat, there's a ramen place not far from here. I know that place, Ichiraku Ramen Bar. The old man there's really nice and the food's great. I like the food too, but I like the girl more. She's twice our age. So, that isn't that big of a gap. That only makes her 12. True. Good luck with that though, her dad may be a cook, but I think he would kill you before letting you date her. Kiba just snorted and picked up Akamaru. He placed the dog on his head and started off towards the raiment stand. The two of them stepped under the flap and sat down. Tucci come out and smiled. This is a first Naruto, normally you don't come in until after 11. I'm going to the academy today. I'm just going to get 3 bowls of miso. Okay, and you? The large beef. Alright, they'll be out in a bit. Thanks old man. And keep my best customer waiting now can I? I don't come here that often. Maybe not, but when you do, you eat quite a bit. The voice came from behind them and a scarred man wearing a Chunin vest came in. Hey Iruka, going to join us? Sorry, but I can't today. I have to go get ready for class, in fact as of today, I'm your teacher. That's great, but don't lecture us too much, it's our first day. You know me Naruto. Which is why I said it. Kiba started laughing and Iruka waved as he left. AM came out of the kitchen and set down their orders. Thanks AM. Both boys were practically drooling, Naruto over the food and Kiba as he watched AM walk away. Kiba, if you don't eat it soon, it's gonna get cold. Kiba looked over at Naruto, who was starting his second bowl. His jaw dropped. What the hell, do you inhale it? I got 3 bowls, I don't want it to get cold, so I eat it fast. It was gone in less than a minute. I know it's noodles, but still, I surprise you don't choke. You got a large and if you want to be to class on time, you'd better start. Kiba broke apart the chopsticks and started eating. They made their way back toward the academy a half hour later. You're a bottomless pit Naruto, I think you could keep up with Akamichi in an eating contest. I seen some of them eating at the BBQ place downtown and there's no way in hell I could. And I do have limits, it's just that I rarely have enough money to reach them. When they arrived, they saw 2 girls standing outside, one with blonde hair the other with pink. Did you hear, there's an Uchiha in our class? Kiba groaned. What's so special about them, they're no better than anyone else. Naruto looked bored. You don't know anything. The blonde girl looked pissed and it made Kiba shudder, Naruto had seen worse by being around Anko. Actually girls, the Inyazuka is right, the only difference between us and everyone else is the Sharingan. The 4 children turned to see Itachi and a smaller version of him walking up to them. Hi Itachi. It's nice to see you're alright Naruto. This is my younger brother Sasuke, he's in your class. It's nice to meet you all. And obviously this is before the massacre, so Sasuke isn't an asshole yet. The girls were both blushing and were speechless. Kiba just grunted and went inside. Naruto walked over and held out his hand, which Sasuke shook. It's nice to meet you too Sasuke. A group of Hyugas walked past them, all of them glared at Naruto. They stood around a young Hyuga girl. Must be the heiress. Naruto shrugged off their glares and also went inside. Their first day consisted of learning what chakra was and how to mold it using hand signs. They didn't get to try any of it until a week later. They were called up one at a time to concentrate their chakra. Most of them did well, but as it was the first time they attempted it, some people didn't. They went by name, so Naruto went after Sasuke. Why does his chakra feel familiar? Unknown to him, deep within his mind a pair of blood-red eyes snapped open. Mandara. Naruto winced in pain and put a hand on his head. Iruka saw this and walked up to him. You alright Naruto? I'll be fine, it's just a headache. Iruka smiled and walked away, but kept a watchful eye on him. Naruto stood in front with his hands together and his eyes were closed. His chakra started swirling around him slowly increasing in speed, making the sound of a strong wind. It was the best display after Sakura, the pink-haired girl he had met the first day. She concentrated her chakra in her hand and made it glow. That's enough, good job Naruto. He smiled and made his way back to his seat barely opening his eyes. Kiba looked a little worried when he made it there. Naruto, you alright, your eyes have barely opened since you started the exercise. It's nothing, I just used a bit too much chakra. I'll be fine at a minute or 2. Naruto didn't like lying to Kiba, but he knew he had to, at least for now. He felt that his eyes weren't drawing on chakra anymore and checked his reflection in the window to be sure. His eyes were back to normal and he looked towards the front of the classroom again. Alright class, that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll be doing more reading on uses for chakra. Dismissed. The kid all stood up and made their way towards the door. I'll see you tomorrow Kiba. I'm gonna go home, I'm still kind of tired from earlier. Alright, see you tomorrow Naruto. Naruto was planning on going the long way home, so it was less likely to run into someone, but decided to go to the Hokage monument first. Naruto sat at the top of the Hokage monument looking over the village. Itachi, are you here? Yes I am Naruto. Is there anyone else around? No one from Anbu and no one else as far as I can tell. Good, because I want to ask you something that I was warned not to in public. What is it Naruto? I was wondering how to increase the number of tomos in the Sharingan. Time and experience. The more you use it the faster it develops. I would suggest that until you can put a genjutsu over them to train them in the woods trying to follow the movements of animals. Even when you can use genjutsu, you need to be careful about using it in public because most chunin can sense genjutsu and higher ranks and other Uchihas can see through them. I understand, thank you Itachi. Why isn't Sasuke able to use the Sharingan yet? It normally manifests when the user is in a situation where it could prevent them from dying. Sasuke has never experienced something like that. That's kind of creepy. Itachi laughed. Yeah, but under those situations, it comes in handy. Now that you have it though, all you have to do is concentrate chakra to your eyes to turn it on. Thanks again Itachi. It's your birthright as much as it is mine. Itachi placed a hand on Naruto's head before leaving in a swirl of leaves. Naruto continued to look over the village and then he heard footsteps coming up behind him. He turned around to see two Sharingan eyes, but they didn't belong to Itachi. The man swung his fist at Naruto and the force behind it was so intense that it spun him around. The spinning made him step forward, but he went the wrong way and toppled over the side of the monument. The last thing he saw before falling unconscious was one of the craved heads coming up to meet him. Naruto opened his eyes to see the hospital ceiling that he was starting to get used to. He sat up and saw that Kakashi was asleep in the chair next to him, orange book in hand. What the hell happened? My whole body hurts. The door came bursting in and Anko and the Hokage came in. Holy shit he's alive. The yelling woke Kakashi up. What happened? You fell 50-some feet, it's a miracle you're even alive. If you can call it that. The Hokage and Anko thought the same thing as Kakashi spoke. Who the hell did this to him? I'm going to find him and rip his worthless throat out. I'm afraid you're too late Anko, the attacker, Shisui Uchiha, was found drowned 2 days ago, the day after the incident. Anko let out a string of curses and excused herself from the room. I've been here for 3 days. Iruka-sensei not going to be happy, I missed a lot of classes. The Hokage was whispering to Kakashi, whose eye was wide. Hey old man, would you mind if I left? That's fine Naruto, but there is one thing that I have to tell you before you go. Naruto looked straight at him. Kakashi has informed me that you know who your parents were and that he impressed how important it is that you not tell anyone. Naruto nodded. I'm sorry to say, but it's even more important after what happened last night. What do you mean, what happened? The entire Uchiha clan, except you and Sasuke, was slaughtered by Itachi. It's not true, Itachi would never do that. Sasuke witnessed him kill their parents. That doesn't mean anything. What about that henge thing we learned about, doesn't that make people look like other people? Yes it does, but it can't copy the effects of Kekkei Genkai like the Sharingan, he used it to make Sasuke fall asleep while he escaped. Why would he do that? We don't know. Naruto, you said you were going to ask Itachi about how to increase the number of tomos, did you? Naruto nodded slowly. Good, no one outside of the clan knew, and once Sasuke gets his, if he doesn't already know, someone will have to tell him. He'll question where the knowledge came from. If you aren't ready to tell him by then, we can say there was a scroll entrusted to me. Thanks old man. Can I leave? The Hokage nodded and Naruto walked out the door. After leaving the hospital, Naruto made his way to the academy, even though he knew that class had already been dismissed, he wanted to talk with Iruka. He walked through the deserted halls and made his way to where he had class. He slid open the door and Iruka was inside, he had a surprised look on his face, but he was also happy. Naruto, I'm glad to see you're alright. Yeah, not sure how, but I'm fine. Sorry I missed class. It's alright, you had a good reason, and you weren't the only one. Sasuke wasn't here today either, but that's understandable after what he went through. In fact, I'd be worried if he didn't take off a few days. Families shouldn't turn on each other, no matter what the reason. I agree with you Naruto, but there will always be those who resent members of their family, most of the time it's due to the difference in ability. Iruka-sensei, could you tell me what I missed? We're working on Bunshin, but you shouldn't have too much trouble catching up. I think I'm going to go home, see you tomorrow Iruka-sensei. Goodbye Naruto, try to be on time to class tomorrow. Naruto laughed. I'll try, but I think I spent too much time with Kakashi to do that. Just be sure you're here, Kiba's been moping every day you weren't here. Between him and Akamaru, it's a wonder anyone could hear me to learn anything. Naruto smiled and waved as he left. The next morning, Naruto decided that he would go early like he did on the first day, even though his body didn't agree with the decision. He sat on the branch that the swing was hanging from, with his back against the trunk. He watched as the kids started arriving, the first being Sakura and her blonde friend Ino. The Hyuga heiress, Hinata, and her normal escort, who left when she went inside, followed shortly after. Shino walked through the door looking at some insect on his arm, with a lazy Shikamaru and Choji behind him. Akamaru came running up to the tree and started barking, Kiba was running after him. Where the hell have you been man, it's been so dull. Sorry, I was in the hospital. Sasuke's not here today. Great, now his fangirls won't shut up. Naruto smiled. Iruka said that you wouldn't when I was gone. Shut up, I was worried about you, they'll be worried he's found someone other than one of them. We'll just have to put up with it, he probably won't be in for a few days. So you know why? Yeah, but it's not my place to say. Kiba just snorted and picked up Akamaru. Naruto jumped out of the tree and walked with him inside. 2 years had passed since Naruto had revealed his family to Kiba and they were sitting in class. Kiba was moping again and Naruto was get aggravated. You couldn't get a girl if you were the last man on the planet. Hell, Sasuke has better luck getting his fangirls off him than you are getting Hinata to notice you. It'd be easier if you weren't around when I try. So tell her you want to talk about me over a lunch or something and tell how much of an asshole I am. But I'm warning you now, if you resort to branding me like we were going to Sasuke, I'll neuter you mangy ass. Hell, I don't even care if you tell her why I ignore her feelings anymore. I get the feeling she's watching me everywhere I go and it's really starting to creep me out. You're one heartless bastard that will crush her. At least then you'll have a chance. Besides, there are worse things than finding out your crush doesn't feel the same. He looked down at his right hand and clenched it tightly before opening it again. Kiba saw that his left hand was shaking on the table. Naruto, you alright man? It seems that I produce more chakra than my body can handle, that's why I can't make clones. I have to use a genjutsu on my eyes everywhere I go in case it becomes active. Kakashi and the old man know something, but they're not telling me. They're having me work on control by walking up trees, on water, and up the side of the Hokage monument in hopes of getting it under control. Needless to say, it's not helping. The old man tried to get a Hyuga to look at my inner coils, but the head of the clan refused. You could ask Hinata. Not a chance in hell, she'd probably think that it means she has a chance with me. Besides, with my luck, it would turn out I'm dying and wouldn't be able to get away from her. There is one thing that I can think of that could fix my problem, but I'm not sure if the old man would agree to it. What? I tell you, if he agrees, no reason to get your hopes up. I'll ask him later. Alright class, today we'll be performing the 3 basic jutsu, Bunshin, Henge, and Kawarimi. We'll be going outside to give us more room. The students all stand up and leave the room. Naruto, I need to talk with you. Naruto slowly moves toward Iruka. Yes, Iruka-sensei. The Hokage has informed me that you are to go to his office instead today. He didn't mention why, but it must be important if he's pulling you from class. I understand, I'll go right away. I needed to speak with him anyway. I'll see you tomorrow, Naruto. Iruka left the room as Naruto leapt out the open window. Naruto was walking along the tree line as he made his way toward the Hokage tower when he felt a pressure building in the pit of his stomach. He grabbed his stomach in pain. Not again, damn it. He ran into the trees and kept going until he couldn't contain it any longer. Red chakra burst from his body, singeing his clothes and charring the trees within a 5-foot radius. Why does this keep happening? At least I wasn't inside this time. He looked down at his clothes. Damn it, there goes another one, I need some fireproof clothes. He used Henge to conceal his tattered clothing and started toward the tower again. He reached the office 5 minutes later to find the Hokage and Kakashi waiting for him. Old man, I have something I need to ask you. What is it, Naruto? You know every jutsu in the village, right? Sandaime nodded. I'd like you to teach me a jutsu that uses an insane amount of chakra. What for? I think it may help me with my chakra problem. I can use the jutsu to keep it at a normal level. I'll consider it. Now down to business, Kakashi and I have been talking and we've decided that you should know why you have this problem, but this is a secret like that of who your parents were. First off, I need to tell you that the day you were born the 9-tailed fox, Kyuubi no Kitsune attacked this village, among the dead was your mother. In the end it took Yondaime's life to stop it. I already know this, it's how Kyuubi died. That's why I'm telling you this, Kyuubi isn't really dead. No human can kill a demon, Yondaime gave his life to seal him away. And you're telling me this because? The only container strong enough to imprison a demon is a human body, the jutsu he used required his life and a newborn, in which the demon would be sealed. I'm sorry to say that you were the only baby born that day. What I'm trying to say. Naruto was livid. What you're trying to say is that I'm a fucking sacrificial lamb and that I'm demonized for it. Obviously the children don't know, or what few friends I have wouldn't want anything to do with me, but it's the reason why I'm attacked and spat upon by the villagers. Unfortunately, it is. Despite my efforts, they refuse to believe that you are only the container. The most I could do was pass a law that forbids anyone from telling the younger generations about it. Lot of help that did. Naruto felt the pressure returning. I'm so sick of you keeping shit about me from me. First my parents and now that I house the very demon who took my mother from me. The pressure was almost to the breaking point, but Naruto released it non-violently. It swirled around him in an arm-width line, it's not even my chakra. Naruto Sandame stared in shock as the red chakra engulfed Naruto. When it finally dissipated, Naruto was gone. Kakashi, find Anko and have her go to the monument, he goes there when he wants to get away from other people. Kakashi disappeared in swirl of leaves. Naruto had indeed gone to the monument, but instead of being at the top, he sat on top of Yondame's head. This man ruined my life. If it was for the good of the village, what does that make me? Aren't I part of the village? He sighed. If they had their way I wouldn't be. You know how much of a pain in ass it is to get your brat. Why didn't you or the others tell me? Listen kid, I agree you should have been told, but Kakashi and Sandame believe it would be better for you not to know. Then why tell me at all? Those bastard villagers tried to kill you several times, they must have decided that you should know why. Only they can tell you the real reason. It would have saved time, probably would have been less painful too. Why would you say that? You have no idea how people will react to your death. I meant for me. Kyuubi's chakra is tearing me apart and its surges are getting stronger every day. Sooner or later it will burst from my body. Besides, I know how the villagers will react, they'll celebrate, very few people will mourn my death. Those who do will get over it eventually and their lives will go on. Anko hit him on the head, sending him smashing onto the stone. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. No one who cares about you will get over it. Kakashi would probably take his own life for failing to protect you too, Sandame is too old to bear that kind of loss, and the rest of us who have come you care about you will blame ourselves for not being able to help you more. Naruto slowly pushed himself back to his feet. You have no idea what I go through every day because of the bastard that I'm forced to carry. I have to look over my shoulder every minute of every day for fear of what they'll do and if they find out about my father. Even with the clan's death, I have no intention of ever making it known that I'm Uchiha. He released the genjutsu he had over his eyes and the henge. His eyes were the two Tomo Sharingan and his clothes were tattered from the Kyuubi's explosive chakra. They wouldn't give a rat's ass if you were Yondame's son, who you are doesn't matter to them. All they see is the demon you contain. And who says that I don't know what you're going through? I know better than anyone else what it's like to be hated by almost everyone. You choose to be how you are, my fate was forced upon me. You're not the only one to wear masks, brat. We both use them to hide our pain, the only difference is how. I have a seal that was forced on me as well, they hate me because of who gave it to me. This man's cruelty would probably put a demons to shame. She took off her trench coat and turned around before pulling down her collar. On her shoulder was a circle of 3 tomos and another circle of kanji around it. My old sensei, Orochimaru, used me as a guinea pig. A sharp pain erupted in Naruto's head and Naruto grabbed his head. Kyuubi was slamming himself against the bars that contained him. Orochimaru. He placed it on me knowing that I might not survive, as well as several other children. I was the only one to survive and I ran away from him. He betrayed Konoha before that and I never knew, so when I returned they all believed me to be a traitor, only the old man trusted me. Because of it I work alone on mission unless absolutely necessary. If it wasn't for the seal on top of it, he would have control over me and could kill me in an instant if he wanted. What a pair we are, both hated for reason beyond our control, cursed to carry the burden of others, and can be killed by those curses. If I should die because of his chakra, I wonder if I'll be allowed into heaven or if being bound to him will send me straight to hell. If I'm sent to hell, at least I'll see you all again, there's not really any way for a ninja to get to heaven with the life they lead. There is a way to overcome your problem, you just have to expel the excess chakra. I don't have a jutsu that requires enough energy to do that, it comes back just as fast as I can use it. I would have to use an insane amount to level it out. Well, there is a reason why people think I'm crazy. Yeah, the way you go from pissed off to giddy in an instant and the bloodlust you have. You don't have to resort to flattery to get me to help you, all you have to do is ask. You have a jutsu like that. Not me, but the old man does, he wanted me to bring you back to his office. I don't want to face him again just yet. I need to find a deserted place to release the pent-up chakra, the shunshin didn't take as much as I thought it would. Anko, do you know of any place I don't have to worry about being seen or about anyone else being around? She smiled sadistically. As a matter of fact, I do. Training Area 44, also known as the Forest of Death. I'll show you how to get there, but you have to tell me more about how you did shunshin. Not much to tell. I wanted to leave and thought of this place while I was using Kyuubi's chakra and then I was here. I can show you if you want. By all means, I want to see this. Naruto channeled some of Kyuubi's chakra into his hand. Anko's eyes widened as the chakra surrounded him and then he and it disappeared. When it appeared again, he walked out of it smiling and holding 4 sticks of dango. I've never seen a shunshin look like that before, normally it's a puff of smoke, swirl of leaves, sand, mist, and stuff like that. He hands her 2 of the sticks and starts to eat his own. The chakra used is replaced by the time I appear, that's why I need something stronger. So where is this forest of death? Follow me, but you'll have to use those ninjutsu again. Your eyes are still active and you look like you've been through hell. I needed to get some new clothes pretty soon anyway, these were getting kind of tight. Enko laughed. That's what you get for eating all that ramen. Look who's talking, I've seen the amount of dango you eat at a time. He put his hands together and used hinge to look like Iruka. She glared at him. I don't want to bring any attention to myself. You could have at least chosen someone that I hang out with. I've seen you hang out with Iruka. Not just the two of us. Naruto smiled. Then what should I do, you don't ever hang out with any one person alone. Very funny brat, now either turn back to yourself or chose someone else that I could stand to be with. That's cold Anko. In a puff of smoke, he turned into a Biki. Happy? It will do. Come on, we're wasting time. They used Shunshin to reach the base of the mountain, and Naruto followed Anko to the area she had told him about. This is it. Doesn't look like much. The animals inside are enormous, and most of the plants are either poisonous, large, deadly in other ways, or all of them. Still doesn't sound that bad, but at least it lives up to its name. Can't say I can. Most people can't, besides why would you want to live up to the name of a fish patty and ramen? That wasn't the meaning I meant. He jumped up into a tree on the other side of the fence and turned to face Anko. I don't want you to follow me. I don't know what will happen when I start and I wouldn't be able to live with myself if you were hurt. I can't let you go by yourself, Sandaime would have my head. I have to do this myself in case I speed up the process. If I accidentally set off the chakra, I'll be isolated and no one will be hurt by it. I'll give you an hour, after that I'm coming to find your dumb ass, but you owe me for this. I expect to be treated to all the dango I can eat. You know I can't afford that, but I'll do my best. Naruto released the hinge and disappeared into the trees. He traveled for 20 minutes at the fastest pace he could manage. He stopped panting and sat down to catch his breath. That should be far enough. Time to start. He started to focus all the red chakra to swirl around him like he had done the first time he used chakra in class. The chakra was visible and when he looked, he saw that his nails had turned into claws. The chakra was swirling around him in a towering column. It scorched the earth beneath him, making the ground bare. He kept this up until he started feeling the draining and saw that the chakra was thinning. It's working. He stopped and his hands returned to normal, and almost instantly, the chakra he had used was being replaced. Damn it, nothing I do can stop it. He sat down against a tree and he closed his eyes to think of another way. When he opened them, he was in what looked like a sewer. What the hell? Where am I? He looked around and the only thing he saw was a red light straight ahead of him. He shrugged. Might as well, I don't know how to leave anyway. He started toward the light and saw other passages, but kept going, despite the foreboding feeling he was getting. Why does this feel so familiar? I've never been here before, yet I feel like I have. He finally reaches the light and takes a deep breath before step through the opening. Holy shit. He finally reaches the light and takes a deep breath before step through the opening. Holy shit. The room before him was void of anything except a large set of bars, spanning most of one wall. At the center was the doors, and the only thing holding them was a piece of paper with a kanji for seal on it. Two large blood-red eyes appeared behind the bars. It's about time you arrived. I was beginning to wonder if you even cared that you could perform the basic skill of your chosen profession. You were pumping excess chakra into me on purpose. You could have killed me. I wouldn't push you that far, I have a stake in your survival. So you're also the reason I heal so fast. Why would you care if I live or not, and why did you push your chakra on me? I needed to get you to come here to tell you that my life is bound to yours. In other words, if you die, so do I and I have no intention of dying until Orochimaru and Madara Uchiha are dead for what they've done. I don't know any Madara, but if he's an Uchiha, he's already dead. All but 3 were killed, Itachi, Sasuke, and me. As for Orochimaru, he betrayed this village before your attack, no one knows where he is now. So the human spoke the truth. Damn that Manda, he shall pay for deceiving me. What the hell are you talking about? Kyuubi growled. Show some respect brat, I'm Kyuubi no Kitsune, strongest of all demons. Then you must all be pathetic if you were beaten by a mere human. Kyuubi growled again, but Naruto just crossed his arms and stared into his eyes. You are an unwelcome guest and nothing more to me. I have been attacked and spat upon because of you being within me, so I shall say what I want to in my own mind. Unfortunately, there is logic in this. Very well, I shall tell you why I attack and what happened during the attack itself. Naruto sat on the stone floor and listened without interrupting while the Kyuubi told the very long tale. So Orochimaru attacked you, causing you to attack us. Because you were too stupid to see that Yondaime told you the truth and a snake lied to you, I got stuck being your living prison. So I'm hated all over a misunderstanding. Naruto started laughing. My life just gets better and better. So, who was this Madara you were talking about? His chakra was more sinister than even my own, but he came to me and I gave him power. In exchange I was to receive a child of his clan to train. When I went to claim my payment, he refused. He used the gift I gave him against me and also allied with two other men. One could make water out of thin air and the other could create trees. I was injured and needed to hibernate to regenerate. The man who could make water could have been anyone with enough training, most famous was Nidame. The other man could only be Shadame, he was the only person to ever be able to use Muton, but that would have been over 50 years ago. Madara would have been long dead by the time the massacre happened. I felt his chakra from here only 2 years ago. Naruto's eyes widened. Sasuke. I thought his chakra felt familiar, but didn't know why. It was because of you, his chakra is like that of the man you were talking about. Then I will demand my payment from him. You have your payment already. I'm an Uchiha as well, and I need your help to control your chakra anyways, so why not train me so I can stay alive long enough to kill Orochimaru? Again you show wisdom despite your age and how you act to those outside. Should I take that as a compliment and an acceptance? Yes, to both. I will train you to use my chakra to its fullest ability. I could also give you the same gift I gave Madara without the Scarifus the other Uchihas would have to pay, but not until you fully develop your Sharingan. Thank you, but I don't want it. I have no intention of becoming dependent on the Sharingan like the clan did. The wise choice, too much use of this gift can drive a person insane, you would do well to tell the other remaining Uchihas the same. It's too late for Itachi, he was the one to kill the others, he spared his brother Sasuke and myself. He was the only one of the clan to know that I was part of it. You should also learn the skills of the other half of your family, though I do detest dogs. The Jujin Bunshin won't help you though because you don't have an animal partner. I'll ask Kiba, he's the only one who would help me anyway. Naruto thought for a moment and decided he should ask. Kyuubi, what is the price that the others had to pay? They had to kill their best friend, only that would awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. Madara did that. How could someone do that? Madara was the first so he didn't, but his descendants do and you'd be surprised what people will do for power. Thank you for agreeing to train me, with your help I will kill Orochimaru and get your revenge, and maybe find out why Itachi killed them, even if he has gone mad, there must be something of his old self left if he didn't kill Sasuke and myself. I hope you're right, I wouldn't want to for you to have to kill him, he means a lot to you, and we owe him for protecting you so many times. Naruto faded from the mindscape, and when he opened his eyes again he was sitting in the forest again. You shouldn't have to worry about my chakra anymore kid. I have slowed the flow to you, but can't stop it. Then I should start out, Anko will be coming to find me soon. Actually kid, time moves differently inside your mindscape, out there only a few minutes have passed. That's interesting, though I'm not sure how it works. If I could find a way to replicate it out here, I could get more training done in a short amount of time. It's worth trying. You've surprised me, you shouldn't hide your intelligence from the people around you. It is respected, even among demons. Naruto smiled and started out of the forest. Anko sat outside of the fence. That's it, an hour passed and he still hasn't come out. I'd better go find him. She stands up to turns to the forest to see Naruto coming out. You're late brat, I was just coming to get your sorry ass. Sorry Anko, but it was worth it, my chakra problem is under control now. Oh well, looks like fun time's over, I have to tell the old man that the problem's fixed and apologize for biting his head off earlier. I'm just so sick of having things kept from me. Hey Naruto, there was someone looking for you, a girl. Let me guess, she was a Hyuga with short hair. How did you know? Is she your girlfriend? No, she's not my girlfriend. Though she would like to be. Damn Kiba, he needs to stop beating around the brush and tell her. She seemed pretty upset, even I felt bad about lying to her. She must have seen my problem with the Byakugan. This is exactly why I was glad the head of the clan refused to have someone look at my inner coils. I knew they would think I was dying, of course I probably was. It wasn't that kind of upset, she was pissed. Either you said something you shouldn't have, or she's sick of being ignored. Oh shit, Kiba did tell her. He dug my grave. I'm going to die when she finds me. What did he tell her? Why I don't like her in a girlfriend sense. I can never go back to class. I'll use a different name and a henge all the time, even when I'm alone just to be safe. Most importantly, I will never talk to Kiba again. You won't die tomorrow. How would you know? Because, I felt so bad I didn't lie to her. She pointed and Naruto spun around to see Hinata standing not 5 feet from him. He gulped and tried to run for it, but Anko stopped him. You're going to have to face it sooner or later, might as well get it over with. You know I could still leave. No, you can't. Watch me. He started gathering chakra, but a sharp pain ran through his body, then another and another. Shit, I forget about Jukin. He fell to his knees. Anko smiled. I'll leave the two of you alone. Hinata walked around in front of him. Why? Why what? Why didn't you just tell me you weren't interested in me, instead of letting me believe you could care about me? I do care about you, just not in the way you want me to. You are a sweet, kind, and caring person. I wish there were more like you in the village, but those are the only feelings I have towards you. I would like to have you as my friend, and I was afraid that if I told you, you would resent me for it. But you had no problem with Kiba telling me. He loves you, and he's my best friend, I'll gladly put his happiness before my own. If that was the only way for you to get over me, then so be it. He is the greatest guy I've ever met, I don't deserve to even have him or you as a friend. I admit that I'm an asshole. Must run in the family. But you should give him a chance, he a lot like a dog, he's extremely loyal, he does kind of smell, but I'm sure that you could get him to do anything, and most importantly, he won't keep secrets from you. And you would? Of course I would. One I wish no one knew about, and another that I only want a few people know. He keeps that one, that's how I know he loyal. He's known for over 2 years and has never let it slip. Unless I announce it, he'll probably take it to the grave. There are some things that should remain unsaid, those were his words when I told him. I trust him with my life, basically the only thing I have of value. You shouldn't have had him tell me how you felt, but it wasn't his fault and he does deserve a chance. Would it be too late to say I'm sorry and ask to be forgiven? It's not too late to say sorry, but you must prove you should be forgiven. Thanks Hinata, you won't regret it. Good. See you in class tomorrow. She turns around and leaves. Enko, you can come out now. See, I told you that you wouldn't die tomorrow. You're an evil bitch, you know that. I wasn't going to let her kill you. You're just lucky she did block your chakra or your secret would have gotten out. Naruto stood up and smiled when Anko's jaw dropped. You let yourself beat you out. Well, at first she did block the flow, but because of his chakra is so strong it broke through. But she was right, I should have told her. It seems that it's genetic to be an asshole in the Uchiha clan. Whatever kid, let's go. The old man's expecting us. They both used Shunshin again and reappeared in the Hokage's office. Welcome back Naruto. Naruto noticed that Kakashi was no longer present. I have some good news old man, I no longer have a problem with Kyuubi's chakra. I'm glad to hear that Naruto. Sandaime took a deep breath. Naruto, I'm sorry that I have withheld these things from you. You don't have to apologize, if anyone should it would be me. I know you were trying to protect me, but I don't need protection from my past. The only one who does is Orochimaru, he shall pay dearly. What do you mean Naruto, what does he have to do with this? Naruto recited what Kyuubi had told him to Anko and Sandaime. How do you know all this Naruto? I've spoken with Kyuubi, he couldn't stop the flow of his chakra, but he slowed it enough that it won't affect me. In exchange for this, I'm to kill Orochimaru when I am strong enough to. Orochimaru's ass is mine brat, no one but me is going to kill him. Anko, as much as Kyuubi hates to admit it, there's a chance that even with all his power that I still might not be able to kill Orochimaru. He said he would give me the Mangekyo Sharingan like he did Madara, but not have to pay the price otherwise required. I would prefer not to resort to that, but if it's a choice of life or death then I will. And I know for a fact that Itachi paid the price, he has the Mangekyo Sharingan. Extended use will drive him insane if it hasn't already. Did you learn anything else from Kyuubi? Not from him, but it seems that when using large amounts of his chakra, my body changes. The only one I could see was that my nails turn to claws, there may be others, but nothing I could see. I see, you should try to avoid using his chakra around the villagers. Many will remember the feeling, and it will only strengthen their belief that you are the Kyuubi. I understand, if you'll excuse me, I'll be going home. I've had enough for one day and would like to get some rest. Of course, I see you later Naruto. Later brat. Naruto bowed and disappeared in red chakra. That kid is skilled well beyond even Itachi at that age. But he is, and probably even more than he lets on. If he actually tried in class, he would graduate years before the others. He's loyal to the friends he does have and especially his cousin Kiba. I have no doubt that he would give his life to protect any of them. He'd throw himself between any force in this village because this is where there is Ide, even though the rest despise him. The old man just nodded as he lighted his pipe. Naruto was already sitting at his desk when the others came in, most were surprised that he would be there so early, let alone in his seat. He tried not to make eye contact with any of them. When Hinata came in he dropped his gaze to the desk surface. He heard the chair next to him being pulled and turned to see Kiba. How did it go with Hinata? Okay I guess. You don't have to lie, I know you told her, and I'm glad you did. She came to find me and demanded to know why I didn't tell her myself. We not on friendly terms, but she doesn't hate me either. Talk to her at lunch. She could probably use the comfort. Did everything go alright with the Hokage? I got it under control now, in fact because of those exercise, my chakra control is better than most Chunin. After class, if you don't have anything planned, could you meet me at the monument again? I'll tell you for sure after lunch. That's what I expected. Naruto smiled and turned back to the front. Hinata sat looking back at them. Naruto nodded to her and she smiled. Sure you said it right. Yeah, in fact I put a good word in for you. She probably won't ask, but she knows that you're keeping a secret of mine. I told her you were extremely loyal, using that as evidence. Thanks man. Not a problem, I told her the truth last night and I will never take back my words. You should ask her about it, you may learn a few things you didn't know about me. Kiba just snorted as Iruka walked in. Okay class, we're going to continue what we were doing yesterday and if we have time maybe some sparring. Alright, everyone outside. The students all filed outside. Once everyone was in the field, Iruka began. We'll start with the henge, then the kawarimi, and then finally the bunshin. Shino, you're up. The class moved through this quickly, almost everyone turning into Iruka except Naruto who turned into Guy and, to the dismay of Iruka, did his signature pose. Kiba rolled on the ground with laughter. The kawarimi went just as smoothly. But when it came to the bunshin, Naruto found that he still couldn't perform it. I don't get it. My chakra level back to normal and my control has skyrocketed, so why can't I do this simple fucking jutsu? My chakra is stronger than a human's. Even the small amount that mixes with yours is more than enough to make the jutsu impossible for you to do. Damn it, I thought you said I'd be able to now. I didn't realize that something could require such a small amount. Maybe the old man will know of a different kind of bunshin I can use. Didn't you say it was under control? It is, it's not going to kill me, but I still produce too much to grab such a small amount for a clone, but there are other types that need more chakra, I'm sure the old man or Kakashi can teach me one of them. I hope so, I don't want to be stuck with the cold bastard. Even if Hinata was part of the squad, I couldn't stand being with him. Just because you're not on the same team as Genin doesn't mean that you won't be on another mission. If the skills needed place the two of you together, you'll need to be able to work with him or you'll both die. You don't have to like each other, but you need to be able to trust that the other will have your back. Yeah. I get lectured enough at home. When the hell did you get so damn preachy? I'm having as hard a time as you and want not to be on the same team with him more than you do. There may be a time when I have to use it on a mission and above anyone else, I don't want him to know. I know, but if I'm put on his team, one of us is going to end up dead. Be careful, he's pretty decent in a fight. If we do spar, I don't think I'm going to participate, I have to keep a few tricks up my sleeve. Time for lunch, afterwards, we'll be in the classroom to learn theory. Most of the students groaned but ran off for lunch. Kiba watched as Hinata walked away to sit by herself and when she sat down he turned back. Wish me luck Naruto wasn't standing behind him anymore and he was nowhere in sight. What the hell, where did he go? He shrugged and started over to Hinata. I'll find out later. Naruto watched from on top of the academy. Smiling, he disappeared in a swirl of red chakra. Naruto appeared before the Hokage. Sorry for my intrusion. He bowed. It's alright Naruto. What can I do for you? I was wondering if there was another form of bunshin that I could learn. Even though I have more control over it, I still can't get a small enough amount to make regular clones. There are several types, but I only know one. Though I believe the Kakashi can use mud clones, water clones, sand clones, and shadow clones, you should ask him. Thanks old man, I gotta get going I'm afraid, I need to get back to class or I'll get another lecture from Iruka-sensei. Sandaime laughed and Naruto bowed before leaving the same way he came. What happened to you, you just disappeared. I went to see the old man. How did you get there and back in time? The new jutsu, I'll show you later. So can you make it or do you have other plans? As long as it doesn't take long, I'm eating her around 5. Shouldn't take that long. In fact I should even be able to show you the jutsu too. Kiba smiled, but Naruto was sure that it was because Hinata was paying him attention and he was happy for Kiba. With all the things I told her, you'd better not fuck it up. She'll think I lied to her and you've never felt the Juken used on you, it's not something I want to experience again. Alright, I'm here. What did you want to talk about? Just a second, first I'll show you the new jutsu. He walked up to Kiba and placed a hand on his shoulder. He surrounded them in his chakra and then they were standing on top of the craved face of Sandaime. How the hell can you do Shunshin Naruto? It's a Jonin level skill. I did it accidentally yesterday and I've been able to since then it will, probably because of the Sharingan. No one I'm worried about can get here, so down to business. I was wondering if you would teach me the basic skills of the Inuzuka clan. Why learn when you could use the Sharingan to see it once and be able to do it? If I did that, I wouldn't have earned the right to use it. I'll work my ass off to do it and if I should still fail so be it. I won't resort to taking the ability, especially from my own family. I suppose I can try, but I don't know how much help I'll be. Thanks Kiba. I plan to kick Sasuke's ass next time. Good, if you don't I was going to kick your ass. Like you could. Besides, it's not wise to insult your only way off here. Kiba looked around and then gulped. Naruto laughed. Don't worry, I wouldn't leave you up here. You've got to meet Hinata, and I already told you I didn't want to get on her bad side. He repeated the process and appeared at the base of the mountain. Take a bath first though, you smell like shit and I doubt she would appreciate you showing up with that god-awful smell. Maybe you're right about that. Don't want to leave a bad impression. See you tomorrow, tell me how it goes. He lifted his hand in goodbye and disappeared in red chakra. Kiba looked stunned and then ran home to get ready. There was a knock on the door and Kakashi reluctantly moved to open it. Naruto stood outside. Didn't expect to see you for a while, figured you'd still be mad. Can I come in? It's not something we can talk about out here. Kakashi moved back inside and Naruto followed after shutting the door. My chakra problem has been fixed. Kyuubi was nice enough to slow the flow of his chakra, though he couldn't stop it. It shouldn't affect me, but it's still enough to make doing Bunshin impossible for me. That's why I'm here actually, the old man said that you knew 4 other types, I was hoping you would teach me one. He could have taught you the one he knew. Yeah, but with all the work he has to do already, he wouldn't have time. I think he also wanted to make sure that I would talk to you sooner. I was planning on telling you that I'm okay anyway, you should know about that at least. You also have a more to choose from. So, will you help me? In all the time you've known me, have I ever refused to train you? Naruto thought for a minute, then shook his head. Well then, which did you want to learn? I've never heard of shadow clones before, what element do they use? They don't, these clones are solid, use more chakra than regular ones, but are created the same way. I think I'll go with them, it could give me the advantage in a fight, because if they appear like normal clones, people won't expect them to attack. You know I never thought of using them like that, but it could a good strategy. I'm impressed Naruto. Okay, when do you want to start? Right now if possible. Kakashi just pocketed his book and lead him to the training field beside the memorial to the fallen ninja. Naruto had come here once a week to pay respects to his parents, both of whom had their names engraved in it. Do you plan on using the Sharingan or working for it? I'll do it myself. Even the fox detests using it for taking abilities, but he's an honorable being, I guess that's the best word for him now. We could be here a while, best get started. Kakashi made a single seal, using his index and middle fingers to make a cross. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A line of 10 Kakashis appeared and each pulled out the orange book from a breast pocket. Soon after, he dismissed them. Naruto smiled and made the same seal. He started drawing on his chakra, he wasn't sure how much more chakra was needed to make these clones, so to be safe, he used the same amount that it took to use Shunshin. A large cloud of smoke appeared and when it dispersed, 30 Narutos stood in the field. In another, they were gone. You used more than enough chakra, but for a first attempt it's pretty good. Since your problem is that you have so much chakra, instead of working up the number of clones, I want you to try for just one. When you've done that, I'll tell you something interesting about shadow clones that could come in handy later. Naruto nodded and went to try again. Just to be safe, I better try the smallest amount I can. He tried again doing just that, but nothing happened. Well at least I know I can make only one. Maybe as much as Kawarimi. He made a cross again, and this time there were only 5 Narutos. Still too much, but 5's getting closer. The only thing less that I know of is Henge. Kakashi was watching, very amused from atop one of the 3 wooden posts near the memorial. He wasn't the only one, Anko watched from a nearby tree. In 3 attempts he has gone from 30 to 5. He might be able to learn this before dark. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not surprised you noticed, but the brat hasn't. Something changed after he met with Kyuubi, it's like he's not the same kid anymore. He has shown more intelligence. He thought of a way to use shadow clones as an ambush, but it would probably only work on stupid or low-ranking ninja. Regardless, the method could have been useful during the war because of how the villages were sending out such young ninja. So he thought of something you didn't, it's probably suicidal like every other battle tactic he comes up with. Actually, this one could be used as a distraction as well. Depending on how the enemy reacted to the clone, the user could either attack as well or run if the enemy proved too strong. He didn't say that, did he? No, the way he said it, he used it as a surprise attack. The enemy would think it's a normal clone and be surprised when it suddenly attacks. That really isn't that bad of an idea. Look, he's trying again. They both stared out towards where Naruto stood, his hands were together in a cross, and his eyes were closed. There was a pop and a puff of smoke, standing there was 2 Narutos, both were smiling and started walking towards Kakashi. Anko dropped out of the tree and walked over as well. Nice job kid. Hi Anko. I was wondering who Kakashi was talking to. Even if I didn't mean to, the Sharingan activated and I could see his mouth moving under his mask. But because of the damn thing, I couldn't tell what he was saying. You been here long? Yeah, I saw your first try. We were actually talking about the use for shadow clones you came up with. And I must say, coming from you, it's genius." Naruto pouted. "That's not very nice, Anko. I talked Kyuubi into helping me and Kakashi said he was impressed by it. He also said it's flawed." Kakashi put his hands up but Naruto's expression never changed. "I never said that, but there are some things about it that could be improved." Naruto shrugged. "I never said that it was perfect. I said that it could give me an advantage in a fight and catch people off guard, if only for a moment. Even the best tactics could use improvements. You learned that jutsu faster than I had expected for not using the Sharingan, so as a reward, I'll take you out for dinner. But first, what I promised you. When shadow clones disappear, you gain the knowledge they had. You can use them to learn jutsu and to gain information from text but not anything physical that you have to do. So Naruto, where would you like to eat?" "Great, more ramen." Naruto gave his answer, but it wasn't what either Jonin had expected. "Wait, what did you say?" "I said, I wanted to go to that dango place you like, Anko." He smiled at their shock. "Sneaky brat, he plans on have Kakashi pay for what he owes me." Kakashi could swear he felt his wallet getting lighter already. "Alright, let's go." Naruto woke up the next morning with his head pounding and didn't know where he was. He looked around. This place is a fucking mess. Wherever he was, he had slept on the couch and was about as big as his apartment. The door just to the left of the couch swung open to reveal Anko and a bundle under her arm. She smiled when she saw him. "Finally wake, I see. You're such a lightweight, you only had 1 cup." She started laughing, which made his head throb. Then the memory of the dinner rushed back to him. Flashback. Anko and Naruto sat on a bench outside the restaurant while Kakashi sat against a tree read from his orange book. Anko had a bottle of sake and was still eating. When she finished a stick, she threw it at the tree. They had been there a while, so needless to say, there was an outline of Kakashi of dango sticks. The bottle was nearly gone, but Anko didn't seem to be even slightly drunk, though she did smell of alcohol. "Hey Naruto, you did so well today that I've got something special for you. You get to try a cup of sake." "Anko, you know he's too young to drink. It's not like it's gonna kill him, it's 1 cup not the whole bottle." Kakashi just sighed as she poured the sake and put it in front of Naruto. "Go on kid, try it." Not one to back down, Naruto picked it up and finished it in 1 gulp. Bad idea, his throat started to burn and his reaction caused Anko to laugh. The last thing he remembered was Kakashi moving over to him before he passed out. End of flashback. "You're evil, pure fucking evil. I do my best. Here." She threw the bundle over to him. "What is it?" "Some new clothes, you said you needed some, and that orange thing that you wear screams here I am." "I like orange, but you're right. It's got me into trouble before." He pulled open the bundle and inside was a sleeveless black trench coat with a red spiral on the back, a pair of black boots, which when he picked up he found that they were weighted, some dark blue pants, and an almost blood red t-shirt. He ran up and hugged Anko, much to her surprise. "Thanks Anko." "No problem brat, pretty soon your class will be able to disable Genjutsu, then where would you be?" He gulped and hugged her tighter. "Besides, even though it was funnier than hell, I wanted to make it up to you for last night. Sake doesn't taste as good as I thought, but it's still not bad except the burning." "That was because you drank too fast, you supposed to sip it." "You don't." "That's because I'm used to it and I've drank stronger stuff before." He thanked her again and left the room to change. When he came back, he was smiling and there was no trace of the Genjutsu. Anko's jaw dropped. "How long has he used a Genjutsu?" His hair is close to mid-back. "How long did you have a Genjutsu on?" "Since I found out about Kyuubi, why?" "Your hair's so long, it looks like you have for months." He reached back and felt his hair on his back. I guess it is pretty long, could have to do with Kyuubi. Maybe another change from when I use his chakra." "Hold still, there's something else different about you." She walked over and looked him up and down before realizing what it was. "It seems that you got taller too, by about 7 inches. You keep this up and we'll only be able to know it's you by those whiskers of yours." "Anko, what do you think, cut my hair or leave it?" "Long hair doesn't suit you and it gets in the way during battle." He nodded after thinking about it. "Would you help me cut it? I can't see the back to do anything." "Sure brat, any particular way you want it?" "Actually there is, but I don't know how to describe it, so I'll be back in a minute." He disappeared in a swirl of red and reappeared holding a picture. "I borrowed it from Kakashi." He pointed at the picture. "Could you make it like that?" "I do my best." He turned around as she drew a kunai for her pouch. After a half hour or so, she stopped and led him to the bathroom so he could see. "It may not be exact, but it's pretty damn close." "It's perfect, I couldn't be happier with it." She smiled and left when there was a knock on the front door. When she opened it Kakashi stood there. "Kid, Kakashi's here." "So he's awake, that's good. Iruka would have my head if he missed class because you gave him sake." He's better than Wake, he's got a whole new look to him, but I won't ruin the surprise. Kakashi went to sit down while Anko searched the cabinets for something to eat. What the hell is taking him so long? Brat, get your ass out here, you have to go to the academy today, remember? I heard you the first time. I was trying to find something in my old clothes. He walked out and Kakashi was stunned. Naruto looked like a blonde Obito, but his clothes had Anko written all over it. He walked over to Kakashi and handed him the picture. Sorry, I needed to borrow that so Anko had a basic idea of how I wanted my haircut. Kakashi was at a loss for words and Anko was smiling in the kitchen. I told you, he's barely recognizable. How many people do you think will know it's you when you get to class? Hiba and Akamaru at least, maybe Hinata, Shikamaru and Shino. Everyone else is too absorbed in something else, the girls with Sasuke, Choji eating, and the rest just don't give a damn. I gonna go now to see how Iruka will react. Anko's smile widened. Just be sure to tell me afterwards, I hold it over his head for a while. Naruto nodded as red chakra surrounded him and he was gone. Kakashi still sat stunned on the couch. His progression is astounding, if he keeps going like this he'll surpass most jonin in 2 years, he could very well be at Sannin level by the time he's 18. I don't think rank matters to him. Protecting those he cares for is more important to him than any title. The Hokage himself said Naruto could have graduated by now. I doubt that this is connected to Kyuubi, it may be the strongest demon, but he didn't even have access to its power until a little while ago. By then he had the second stage Sharingan and knew almost every fire jutsu I do. He's never used a Sharingan to copy techniques, but he learns them at impossible rates. The only one Kyuubi's effect was the Shunshin, he used it out of the desire to leave, and because the Sharingan was active, he can use it at any time now. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on through, look at how the last two turned out. Iruka walked into the classroom to prepare for class, but was startled to find someone else there. He drew a kunai and moved into a defensive stance. Who are you and what are you doing here? That really hurts Iruka-sensei. The person looked up with a fox-like grin. Iruka took a slow step forward. Holy shit, is that you Naruto? The one and only. You know I think that's the first time I've heard you curse Iruka-sensei. Yeah well I had good reason. What happened to you? I had my hair cut and Anko bought me some new clothes because my other ones weren't wearable anymore. I can tell she picked them out. Yeah she did, but I like it. My old clothes were hot and restricting, these are comfortable, easy to move in, even with the weighted boots. The coat's got a lot of extra pockets for scrolls and stuff. I'm glad to see the two of you are getting along so well. Yeah, we're a lot alike. Hey Iruka-sensei, could we do sparring again today? I promise I won't use jutsu again. I suppose we could, and since the whole class knows some jutsu, I can allow those three. Thanks, Iruka-sensei. I'm gonna go grab a bite to eat before class, see you then. Alright Naruto, but be on time. No problem. Iruka jumped back as Naruto was surrounded by red chakra and disappeared. Naruto was sitting in his seat when the other students arrived, some didn't pay attention to him, others had to do a double take, and some looked like they were going to faint from shock. All the while Naruto just smiled and waited to hear what Kiba said. When everyone was seated he saw that Kiba stood at the door with his mouth open. Naruto just raised his hand and kept smiling. Kiba quickly came up the stairs, stopping only to say good morning to Hinata. That's one hell of a makeover Naruto. I thought these girls didn't interest you. They don't. I'm not trying to impress anyone, a friend of mine bought these for me as a gift. If I didn't wear them she'd gut me in the blink of an eye, just ask Iruka, he knows her too. Besides, I like them. Sounds to me like you got a girlfriend. She's at least twice my age and she is the most sadistic woman I've ever met. I tell her that and she takes it as a compliment, one of the only good things about her is she let me have some sake yesterday, though she probably won't again, Kakashi wasn't happy about it. You're full of shit. No one would let you have sake, no matter how shit-faced they were. Believe what you want. We're doing sparring again today and are allowed to use the 3 basic jutsu. How would you know? I came earlier to ask if we could, there's a trick I want to try. But that means you can't use you other jutsu. So, I don't need it for what I have planned. Iruka walked into the classroom. Everyone outside, we're doing some sparring today. When they were on the field Iruka explained the changes and asked who wanted to go first. Naruto's hand was in the air before the question was finished. Alright Naruto, who else? Everyone else looked a little nervous. He's already promised to only use Henge, Kawarimi and Bunshin. Naruto smiled. It's still a Bunshin, even if it isn't the same. Come on Kiba, you keep saying you can beat me, prove it. Fine I will. Kiba walked out onto the field and Iruka smiled. Naruto vs Kiba. Ready? They both nodded. Begin. Iruka jumped out of the way, but neither moved. What's the matter Kiba, you scared? Kiba snorted. Yeah right, like I'd be scared of you. If you're not going to attack, I might as well. He ran forward with speed Iruka found hard to believe since he knew Naruto was wearing weights. He threw punch after punch, slowing them to get Kiba overconfident. It was working, Kiba was dodging every punch, and the smile he had was grow larger by the minute. Kiba blocked one punch and threw one of his own. Naruto let it hit him and was surprised by the power behind it, it sent him skidding backwards a few feet. I thought you were better than this Naruto. The only response was Naruto make a hand sign Kiba hadn't seen before. A cloud of smoke surrounded Naruto. The other students saw Naruto run out the back of the smoke and start toward the surrounding woods, but before he got there the smoke disappeared, revealing a clone. Damn weighted boots. That was your plan. Use a clone and attack from the forest. How pathetic. Kiba started towards him at full speed, but as he was approaching the clone, he saw that the real Naruto by the forest was smiling. Before he could stop, the clone stretched out an arm and clotheslined him. He landed on his back with a loud thud and a groan. Both Narutos placed a boot on his chest. You lose. The clone puffed out of existence. Naruto moved his foot and helped Kiba up. What the hell was that? The clone shouldn't have been able to attack. It's a different type, but it's still Bunshin. You planned for the smoke to disappear before you made it to the forest. I thought up the plan yesterday before I even learned to use it. And let me tell you, it's a pain in the ass for me to make only one. Kiba smiled. You're a sneaky bastard, but you're one hell of a prankster. They walked over to the rest of the class, almost everyone's mouth was gaping. Most were staring at Naruto, but some had recovered from their shock and were laughing at the way Kiba was defeated. Iruka-sensei, if you want everyone to get a chance you might want to start the next match. Iruka snapped out of his stupor. Alright, who wants to go next? Naruto and Kiba moved over to sit against the academy wall. How things go with Hinata? Better than that match. We had dinner and I walked her home. All we really talked about was our families. Do you think I can trust her with my secret? I would say yes, but from what she told me that was one of the reason you gave for not wanting to be with her. I never said that, I said I would keep secrets and that it was one of the biggest secret I have, an easy second. Second? You mean you have something bigger than that? Naruto nodded. I'm not even allowed to reveal this one. In size, the one you know was academy-size secret, this one is the Kyuubi of all secrets. You free later? I said I would help you and I got nothing to do today. I'm off at the clinic and Hinata's doing something with her family. Yeah, I'm okay with it, but it can't take all night, I suppose to tell Anko how Ruka reacted to my new look. I want to hear this. The actual swore, though I don't blame him, Kakashi was speechless when he saw me. Kiba was laughing. You should have seen the look on your face though, priceless. That shut Kiba up pretty quickly. It was kinda like theirs after our match. Kiba growled, but it made Naruto notice something he hadn't earlier. Hey, where's Akamaru? He's not very happy with me, I didn't take him with me to dinner. Dude, girls love dogs. Wash him up and take him with you next time. I guess I could. Your advice did work last time. The rest of the matches were finished pretty quickly and they headed off for lunch. Kiba had gone off with Hinata and Naruto laid on a branch. He felt the chakra he had come to know as Sasuke stop under him. I'm surprised you could get away from you fangirls. Shut up, I had to hinge into that damn mutt you hang out with in the bathroom to get away. Why would you do that? I wanted to ask if you had been able to use Ukeke Genkai yet. Only for a few minutes at a time, how about you? Unfortunately no. As much as I hate to admit it, I don't know how to. You should ask the Hokage, maybe he knows something and it never hurts to ask. If he doesn't know, I'm sure there has to be some scroll your family kept about it, they wouldn't want something as powerful as the Sharingan to disappear. I never thought that you would be giving advice to me, but thanks. Don't worry about it. I just want you to get it fast so we can have our rematch. Though Naruto couldn't see it, Sasuke smirked and then walked away. Damn Anko, the headache still isn't going away. She could have at least warned me. Naruto and Kiba stood by the fence around the forest of death. There's no way in hell that I'm going in there. My mom and sister told me all about this place. It's not that bad, the only thing you have to really watch out for are the animals, but they're easy to see. Why the hell do you want to train in there? So no one sees us, how much trouble do you think you'll get into for teaching someone who isn't technically part of your clan's jutsu? I could be disowned, but I'd rather be alive to be disowned. There are supposed to be cameras everywhere in there. I didn't see any the last time, though I wasn't really looking either. Fine, where would you recommend? Follow me, there's this place that's really isolated but still big enough for our purpose. They went clear across the village to reach this place. Naruto had used Hinge to look like Akamaru, saying it would give people no reason to follow them. Once in the forest he took on his normal appearance. It certainly was isolated, the forest was thicker here than anywhere else Naruto had been, and the other side was a river and a small waterfall. At least now that I've been here I won't have to walk again. We should start with the Shikyaku, it's a most basic and should be used in addition to the others. I don't really have a use for Jujin Bunshin since I don't have an animal partner and all. Not a physical one that is. That's true, but it limits you to only two jutsu I know about, Shikyaku and Tsuga. Tsuga should still be used with Shikyaku though, since it increase your speed and strength, and Tsuga requires a great deal of speed. That shouldn't be too hard, Anko's already starting to give me weights. My boots are a little heavy, but nothing too bad. Yeah, pretty soon you'll being able to move as fast as your mouth. You're one to talk, not that long ago you ran your mouth every day and got your ass kicked for it. By a group of weak fangirls no less. Kiba growled, still a bit sensitive about it, causing Naruto to smirk. You should stop smirking so much, you're starting to remind me of that asshole. Naruto instantly dropped it, his face emotionless. Let's get started, I still got find Anko, and knowing her, she won't make it easy. Kiba nodded and told Naruto about how Shikyaku was performed. He stood off to the side as Naruto tried again and again. He had almost used up his chakra reserves. Damn it, why can't I get this? Hey Kyuubi, do you know why? It could be that you weren't using enough chakra. Use mine and try again, if you can't do it this time, call it a day so you can rest. Naruto felt a surge of raw energy and he couldn't even begin to describe the sensation. He made the seals putting as much as he dared into the jutsu. His nails turned to claws and he feared that he had used too much, but Kiba seemed pleased. Naruto noticed that there was chakra coming off of him, not the red color of Kyuubi's, but light blue. Naruto, you did it. But you need to work on some control, your eyes are active. Naruto was down on all fours and moved quickly towards the river. What he saw made him release the jutsu. That wasn't the Sharingan, it looked like Kyuubi's eyes. Another effect of using his chakra probably. Naruto smiled. That was awesome. Moving around like that felt so natural, it sucks that I can't stay like that permanently. I don't think anyone could keep it going for longer than a few hours. You'd be choking down Solider pills every few hours. And let me tell you, they don't taste good enough to do it. I'm exhausted, but I think I have just enough to get back to the village, it's a hell of a lot easier to shunshin than try to walk out. Kiba nodded in agreement and walked over to Naruto, who placed a hand on his shoulder. In an instant they were at the academy and they both went their separate ways after a few more insults and some parting words. As much as his body protested, Naruto had told Anko that he would tell her, so he set out to find her. He went to the Dango restaurant first, but no luck. After a few more stops, he could barely stand. Fuck it, I'll tell her later. He stood in the middle of the street and the people around him started to stare. He quickly moved into a nearby alleyway and used a small amount of Kyuubi's chakra to do one final shunshin to get him home. He appeared in the living room kitchen and started for his bedroom when he sensed someone else in the room. Whoever it was, either suppressed their chakra or hadn't been trained to use it. He heard a whooshing sound and felt the blood trickle down his cheek. You're late. Damn it Anko, you almost gave me a heart attack and what with throwing the kunai. Just because you're too slow to dodge isn't my fault. Whatever, I was trying to find you. Well, I was waiting here. So how did he react? He didn't recognize me until he saw my face and when he did he actually cursed. I don't think I've ever heard him swear before. Really, it's better than I expected, he's not one to be so, what's the word? Uncivil I guess you could put it, he'll never live this down. That's nice. If you don't mind, I'm fucking exhausted and I'm going to bed. You do look like shit, you probably should. You're looking good too. Go bother Kakashi and I'll tell you where he hides those books of his. Anko's smile grew sinister. By all means. The whole collection is stored in a summoning scroll that he hides in a pile of other scrolls, he moves it around in the pile a lot. But I wouldn't just burn the whole pile because I don't know what else is in it. Thanks kid, see you around. She disappeared in a swirl of leave and he sighed before going into his room. I don't know who to feel sorrier for, Kakashi, who will have a pile of ashes on his floor, or me when she notices that he still has the books. Oh well, I deal with it after some much needed sleep. Over the next 3.5 years, Naruto had become adept at Tsuga and had perfected Shikyaku. During that time, he also learned to use Kyuubi chakra in large amounts, to use demonic ninjutsu, only another demon could dispel them, so he could leave the Sharingan open at all times if he wanted to, and the basics of sealing. They were currently heading to the academy for their last day there. Once we pass this exam, I'll be one step closer to my goal. Time sure flew by, I can't believe it's already been 6 years since Akamaru led me to you sitting in that swing. Where is he by the way? Naruto started looking around. Hinata asked if she could take him home last night. Whatever, I found out a few of the Jonin instructors for this year from Kakashi, he's taking another one, even though he's never passed one. Asuma Saratobi, the old man's son and a smoker. And last but definitely not least, Kurina Yuhi, the red-eyed Genjutsu specialist. Other than that I don't know, but luckily for us, Guy already has a team, I pity the poor bastards. I don't, Hinata's cousin is on that team, and he's a dick. Fine, I still pity the other two through, for both those reasons. I wonder who else will be on the same team as me. Knowing the old man, it will be me and Sasuke with one of his fangirls with Kakashi, so when Sasuke get the Sharingan, Kakashi can ask me about it and then help Sasuke to master it. That and he probably hopes I'll decide to tell him I'm part of his clan. I don't blame you for not wanting to, I wouldn't want to know that I'm related to an ass like him. Unfortunately, I can't announce who my mother is unless I announce my father too. For now, I'm happy being a Uzumaki, but I don't want to hide who I am my whole life. They arrived at the academy, and the exam went by quickly. Among those who passed were Naruto, Kiba, Hinata, Sasuke, Shino and Sakura. No one had donned their headbands yet. Naruto watched as Ino came back holding a headband, and Iruka and his assistant Mizuki came back into the room. Congratulations to those who passed, to those that didn't, keep working hard and try again next year. The spot for Rookie of the Year is a tie between Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, as both scored the highest of the class. As this has never happened before, it will be determined in a match between the two. Weapons and jutsu are allowed, but this is not to the death, so don't aim for vitals. The whole class followed Iruka outside and either stood or sat by the academy wall to watch. Meanwhile the three Jonins that Naruto had mentioned, along with the Hokage and Anko, stood atop the building as Naruto and Sasuke got into their stances. Iruka shouts Began, and the two boys rushed each other, kunai in hand. The kunai clashed and they fought for dominance. No holding back this time Naruto. Naruto didn't say anything, just kept smiling. They jumped away and mirrored each other's hand signs. Kakakyu no Jutsu. The two fireballs collided, sending off a shockwave, but while Sasuke was knocked back, Naruto used chakra to keep himself in place. Up on the roof the Jonins watched with interest, but kept their comments to themselves. Not bad for a clone huh? They turned to find Naruto stand behind them. No one even noticed the switch. So what are you doing here old man? Can't I come and see how the next generation of ninja turned out? You probably just wanted to not have to do paperwork today. These three I can understand because they're scouting out their possible teams, but you Anko, I just don't get why you're here. I haven't seen you fight in a while and was curious of what you could do. Then I'll show you. Watch closely. In a swirl of red chakra, he appeared next to his clone, which he dispelled right after. Sasuke stood back up, never noticing the switchback. Naruto pulled out 5 shuriken and threw them before making more hand signs. Cage shuriken no jutsu. Those 5 shuriken turn into 50 and all impact Sasuke, who turns into a log. Naruto smirks and sinks into the ground. Sasuke sitting on a tree branch while looking around, trying to figure out where Naruto will pop up. Said blonde is standing against the trunk of the same tree on the opposite side, trying to think of a good way to finish the match. Smiling, he walks up a tree and continues until he's standing just behind Sasuke. Looking for someone. Sasuke turns quickly to find his opponent. He jumps from the tree to be surrounded by clones. If you give up, you'll save yourself the embarrassment. Like I would give up. Naruto sighed and shook his head. I figured that would be your answer, too bad really. Naruto nodded and his clones all run toward Sasuke. When it seemed that Sasuke would lose the clones vanished and Naruto was nowhere in sight. What's the matter? Are you hiding? There was no response and everyone was looking around for the blonde. All of a sudden, Sasuke felt something around his ankles and he looked to see hands coming out of the ground grabbing him. He tried to break free of their grasp, but he was quickly pulled down into the ground, leaving only his head out. Naruto rose from the earth with a smile on his face. Oten. Shinju's Anshu no Jutsu. Don't feel bad, most can't escape once they're caught, it took me a while before I could. So is the match over or do you want to waste everyone's time by trying to escape? Before Sasuke had a chance to answer, Iruka stepped in between the two. That's enough, there is no need to continue. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. Those who graduated, be here at 8 o'clock to be placed onto teams. Dismissed. While the other students left to find their parents in front of the building, Naruto walked into the forest where he overheard Mizuki speaking with a silver-haired man with glasses. My master would like for you to steal the forbidden scroll for him. What's in it for me? You will be rewarded handsomely and given a high-ranking position in his village. Alright, where's the drop-off point? Just outside the village by the east gate, I'll be waiting there until midnight, after that I will leave, and the offer will expire. If the scroll you bring is fake, you will be killed, do you understand? Yes, I have some planning to do. If you'll excuse me. The man with glasses nodded and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Mizuki turned around and saw that all the children were heading home. Looks like the kids are gone, I guess I can't trick one of the kids that didn't pass into taking it for me. Mizuki sighed and disappeared in a puff of smoke. High in the trees overhead, Naruto was smiling. This could work in my favor. Red chakra surrounded him and he was gone. The Hokage glared at the paperwork that was stacked in front of him when he felt a wave of chakra flow over him. "Old man, there's something you should know." Darkness enveloped Konoha as a dark figure snuck past the guards that surrounded the Hokage tower. The intruder ascended the stairs quickly and quietly. Near the Hokage's office, they stopped and picked the lock of a steel door. It swung inward noiselessly and the intruder crept inside, looking for traps. Finding none, they moved towards the large scroll at the center of the room. The person stopped when they felt someone else in the room. They turned around to see a blond boy standing there. "You're not supposed to be here, Mizuki-sensei. The old man does like people coming in here. Then it's a good thing he doesn't know." "Who says I don't?" The Hokage moves from the shadows and stands behind the blonde. Mizuki tries to escape through the window, only to be stopped by Kakashi and Anko. "Take him to Ibiki, find out who he's working for." "Hold on, old man, I have a better idea." Naruto whispers into the Hokage ear and the old man shudders, making Anko smirk and all the color fade from Mizuki's face. And what was Naruto's idea? To have the Hokage use a sound barrier on a windowless room and lock Mizuki inside with Guy. Unfortunately for Mizuki, Guy brought what appeared to be a clone by the name of Rock Lee. Anko and Naruto sat outside the room and could still hear Mizuki's muffled screams even through the sound barrier. Anko shuddered slightly. "And you said I was evil." Naruto just sat there with a smile on his face. "I learned from the best, but I kind of feel sorry for the bastard. He's locked in there with Guy and his clone, and what the hell was with the hugging, and where did that ocean cliff thing come from? I don't know, but I never want to see it again." He nodded in agreement. Kakashi come walking up to them. "I'd better go get him out or he'll be too traumatized to tell us anything." "Naruto, the Hokage would like to speak with you." He opened the door and they could hear two voices ranting on about the flames of youth. Naruto shuddered and hurried to the Hokage's office. Naruto poked his head inside. "You wanted to see me?" Sarutobi smiled. "Yes I did, come in." Naruto walked in and sat down opposite of the old man. "Thanks to you, we were able to keep the scroll from falling into unknown hands. We were also able to do so without alarming the general populace, for which I'm grateful. That means less paperwork for me. So I have decided to reward you. I'll grant one request, as long as it is within my power to do so. I would like to be on the same team as Kiba and Hinata." The old man chuckled. "I had a feeling you would say that. Fine, it's done, but Kakashi's not going to be very happy." "I know, but I'm not ready to reveal my heritage to everyone yet and if Sasuke finds out, it won't be long before everyone knows." "Did he come and ask about the Sharingan yet?" "Yes, I told him that all I knew about how it was activated was that it would when he needed it." "Good, if he knew the real way, he would be looking for fights that could get him killed." "I agree, but I wish you were willing to tell him, if he knew that there was another Uchiha, he may give up his foolish quest to kill Itachi. Even with the Sharingan at its final stage he won't win. Itachi has the Mangekyo Sharingan. It gives him a powerful genjutsu called Tsukiyomi that creates a world where he controls everything, even the flow of time, and the black flames of Amaterasu, which are hotter than the sun and burn for 7 days and nights. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he could go toe-to-toe with any one of the Sannin. I wouldn't be so sure, I trained them after all. Orochimaru, well sick and twisted, knows more jutsu than Kakashi or myself. Tsunade may have a few weak moments, but when it comes to beating people into the ground, she's second to none, same with her medical abilities. Jiraiya was Yondame's teacher and knows one of the two techniques created by him. While he may not have the sheer amount of jutsu that Orochimaru does, they have always been equal in power. He is also the best seal master to ever come from this village. They all also possess one of the 5 summoning contracts of our village, Orochimaru the Snake Sannin, Tsunade the Slug Sannin, and Jiraiya the Toad Sannin. What are the other 2? Dogs, like Kakashi uses, and the one I use, monkeys. I didn't know you could summon, old man. I haven't in some time, around the same time I handed down the title of Hokage. But that's for another time, you should probably head home, you have a big day tomorrow. Yes I do, but before I go, I have 2 more things I want to ask you. What are they, Naruto? Is it my decision who knows about who I am and what I carry? It always has been, all I ask is that you tell them that they cannot repeat the information. Alright, and second, could you show me the seals for the sound barrier jutsu? So you're finally going to use the Sharingan to learn a jutsu? If it's alright with you." The old man smiled and nodded. Naruto turned on his Sharingan and Sarutobi went through the hand signs. Naruto smiled and thanked the old man before he headed home. The next morning, Naruto was at the academy just after 7:30, his headband tied to his forehead by a black cloth. He found most of the other graduates there as well, among them was Kiba and Hinata. He walked over to them smiling. "Morning, lovebirds." Hinata blushed and said good morning, while Kiba just smiled. "So, did you worm the teams from the Hokage or Kakashi?" "I got mine, but not who the sensei was." Hinata, I'm warning you now, if Kiba gets Kurenai Yuhi for a sensei, he'll be drooling over her. Why would I be drooling over her when I got Hinata? Naruto chuckled. You say that now, but wait till you see her. Akamaru barked happily from Hinata's lap. Naruto reached down and pet him before sitting down beside them. Naruto looked around at the others who passed, a surprisingly large amount of Sasuke's fangirls had passed. Poor Kakashi, he's going to be stuck with a stuck-up asshole, a fangirl, and another guy. Slowly they started to head into the academy, the three of them sat together and chatted while waiting for Iruka. About 5 minutes past 8, he arrived in a puff of smoke, a piece of paper in his hand. Listen up, because I'll only say these once. Naruto tuned out most of it, except when he heard a familiar name. Team 7 consisted of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Shino Aburam under Kakashi Haddock. Team 8. Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka, and Naruto Uzumaki. Your sensei is Kurenai Yuhi. Naruto smiled wide. Oh, this is perfect. He turned to Kiba with a dumbfounded look and Hinata's full of concern. Iruka said something about Team 9 still in use, and Team 10 was Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akimichi under Asuma Sarutobi. Your senseis will be here to pick you up in at 11, until then, you are dismissed, and good luck. He left the same why he arrived, and the door opened revealing two people, one was a man with black hair and a beard with a cigarette in his mouth, and the other was a woman in a white and red dress, with red pupil-less eyes and dark hair. The man was the first to speak. I'm Asuma Sarutobi, Team 10, let's go. Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji all stood up and followed him out the door. Team 8, be at training area 12 in 10 minutes. She disappeared in a puff of smoke. Kiba's mouth was hanging open. That's our sensei. Apparently. We'd better get going, training area 12 is on the other side of the village. We'll be there in no time, just grab on and don't let go. Kiba knew what Naruto was going to do and stuck Akamaru into his coat before placing a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Hinata was a bit hesitant, but she did the same after Kiba did. Red chakra encased them and with an instant they were standing in front of a shocked Kurenai. Hinata was just as shocked. I didn't know you could use Shunshin Naruto. I'm just full of surprises. Let's introduce ourselves and get to know each other, likes, dislikes, hobbies and dreams for the future. Kurenai-sensei, could we take this inside? There are a couple of things that you should all know, but I don't want to be public knowledge. She gave him a questioning look and he scratched his cheek. Alright, I don't have a problem with it. Any place in mind. Anywhere that there aren't people, after that I'll do the rest. Fine, then let's head to my apartment, it's nearby, and as long as no one goes snooping around, I won't mind. They reached her apartment rather quickly, and as soon as they were inside, Naruto closed the door and started making hand signs for the sound barrier. The Hokage teach you that. In a way. They all sat down except Naruto stayed standing. The first thing is directed at Hinata and Kurenai-sensei as Kiba already knows. This is the secret I told you about Hinata. He closed his eyes and when he opened them, they were red with 3 tomos in each. They both gasped. My parents were Kakashi's 2 teammates, Obito Uchiha and Rin Inuzuka. Only one member from each family knows that. Kiba obviously for the Inuzuka and Itachi for the Uchiha. His eyes turned back to blue. He stopped and waited for that to sink in before he continued. He took a deep breath. Kiba, you remember what I said about a bigger secret than that? Yeah, that even you couldn't reveal it. Well, I got permission. Kurenai probably already knows, so this is for you too. I told you it was the Kyuubi of all secrets and it true in more ways than one. Naruto, are you sure you want to tell them this? They should know in case something should happen. Do you remember what we were told about the 9-tailed fox's attack? Hinata spoke up. Only that in the end, it killed hundreds and it took Yondame's life to kill it. Most of it true, except he wasn't killed. Yondame gave his life to seal him in a newborn. Just before the sealing, the fox let loose a widespread attack and destroyed the medical tent that my mom was working in. And only one child was born that day, me. He pulled up the bottom of his shirt and channeled chakra, a seal appeared over his navel. I contained the demon that killed my mother along with hundreds of others. He was the one that caused my chakra problem and the one who fixed it. He watched as their faces went through several emotions and then settled on anger. He hung his head. You knew this might happen. Doesn't make it any easier. I don't blame you. They looked up at him as the red chakra hid him from view and disappeared. Kiba looked at the other two. What did he mean by that? They looked just as confused, but Kurenai spoke up. I don't know, but we will when we ask him. Where would he go to be alone? I can think of 3 places, on the heads of the Hokage monument, Ichiraku's ramen bar, and the spot where we train. What about his house? Not a chance, he hates that place. It's small and empty, the only thing that's there now that wasn't when he moved in is some clothes and some food. If we can't find him at one of those 3 places, we should ask the Hokage. Whenever Naruto's involved, he seems to always give in. Alright, we'll split up and meet back at the training area. Kiba, you go to your training spot, Hinata check Ichiraku's, I'll go to the monument. The two nod and run out the door. She disappears in a puff of smoke. She appeared on Yandame's head to find Naruto with his back to her. I already knew you didn't care about Kyuubi, or you would have done something before. I was a bit worried how you take me being an Uchiha. I remember you saying you didn't really respect or trust any of them except Itachi, but that was before the massacre. I know I can trust you to keep those two safe, and you have my respect for taking all the villagers' shit and not retaliating, but you lost some of it by running. That's what I've always done when it's come to Kyuubi. Why did you run from them through? I couldn't take it, the looks of anger they had. Naruto, I don't think they were angry at you. We'll see. He popped and disappeared. The clone? She sighed and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Hinata approached Ichiraku's and found Naruto sitting in the alleyway. I'm sorry Hinata. For what? For keeping things from you. You have a right to secrets, if you didn't want to tell me, you didn't have to. Last time you said I should have told you. That was different, it concerned me. These ones had nothing to do with me. Naruto, why did you leave? I've been hated by most of the villagers for as long as I can remember, I couldn't stand to see it on yours and Kiba's faces. Idiot, I don't hate you. He looked at her with a shocked expression. I was pissed that the people of this village could hate you for something you had no choice in. It was Yondaime sealing it in you that saved them and they demonize you for it. Thank you Hinata. I'm a forgiven about back then. I forgave you a long time ago. He smiled and popped out of existence. But your clones are another matter. She turned around and headed back towards training ground 12. Hopefully one of them found the real one. Kiba walked out of the forest cursing. Naruto stood facing the river. You couldn't sneak up on a deaf person Kiba. Shut up, I can't use Shunshin like you can. Naruto turned around and Kiba's mouth fell open. What happened to you? Naruto's eyes were red with slit pupils, thicker and darker whisker marks, and looked like he had used Shikyaku. This is what happens when I use Kyuubi's chakra. The day you taught me Shikyaku, you saw these eyes, not the Sharingan. So you can use its power too, have you ever used it to fight me? Why would I? Besides, if I did, I wouldn't be here. I would have been killed for attacking a villager. It's more like a last-ditch attempt. Naruto, I seen the way you looked at Sensei's apartment before. No matter how hard you try to hide it, it was pain like when the villagers mutter things and glare at you. I want to know why I saw it. Both you and Hinata are my best friends, you know that. I saw the same hatred as the villagers on you both and I couldn't take it. You dumbass, you're not the one I was angry at. I've been your friend for 6 years, but we're family too, you really think that this matters to me? The villagers may call you a demon, but if they treat you like shit for saving them, then I say fuck them. If I were in your shoes, I may have lost it and let Kyuubi out by now. God knows they deserve it. Thanks Kiba. Not a problem fox boy, now could you give me a lift, we're supposed to meet the others at the training ground we were at before. I think I have enough chakra for that. What do you mean by that? I'm a clone, I was sent knowing that you would come here looking, just like the ones at the monument in Ichiraku's. Our job was to see how you each reacted. After we disappear, he decides to shows up or not depending on your reactions. The clone placed a hand on Kiba's shoulder and they were surrounded by red chakra. When it disappeared, they stood in front of Kurenai and Hinata, the clone dispelled a second later. Kurenai looked really agitated. I'm really starting to hate those clones. I felt that way after he used them on me. I told you I wanted to try something and you got overconfident. They looked towards the source and found Naruto sitting in a tree looking at them. He dropped down and was hit in the chest by Kiba. What the hell? Just making sure. How did you know to send clones? I'm not stupid, you know the places I go most often. Since I didn't want to be found right away, I came back here since it's the last place anyone would look. Sorry about the clones, but I couldn't be completely sure, no matter how much I hoped. Kurenai shook her head. Any objections to continuing the introduction here? No one said anything. Good, Naruto, anything else you want to add? Just that it's my goal to track down Itachi. Great, he wants to avenge the clan too. As if he read her mind, he shrugged. I want to know why he did it. She pointed at Hinata. I'm Hinata Hyuga, I like pressing flowers and spending time with Naruto, Akamaru, and my boyfriend Kiba. I dislike how the head house treats the branch houses and my dream is to change it. Not what I was expecting, but today's full of surprises. Okay, your turn. I'm Kiba Inuzuka, I like pulling pranks, spending time with Hinata, and training with Naruto and Akamaru. I dislike Sasuke and being the target of pranks. He glares at Naruto who smiles sheepishly. My goal is to become a strong leader for my clan and hopefully get Naruto to be accepted as part of it. I told you Kiba, to do that I have to also announce I'm a Uchiha and I don't like the idea of it being widely known that I'm related to the stuck-up bastard. I have to have the two loudest people in Konoha. At least Hinata's quiet. Well, seeing as how Naruto asked for the three of you to be out together, I would assume you can work together well. Hinata and Kiba looked shocked and Naruto started inching away. Damn Naruto, what can't you get the Hokage to do? And more importantly, why didn't you tell us? It was a reward. I gave him information that kept a forbidden scroll in the village. Thank God I did too, I would have been on Kakashi's team with Haruno and Sasuke, that just screams dysfunctional. As for why, I wanted it to be a surprise. Listen you three, the other teams are going to be put through another test tomorrow, but you won't be because the purpose is teamwork and taking care of your teammates, which you showed today. You are the first 3 of the 9 that will become genin, the others are sent back to the academy, so congratulations. Meet here tomorrow and we'll start doing missions. After 2 months of doing nothing but D rank missions and training, both Kiba and Naruto complained enough to get the Hokage to assign them a B rank, but they had to work with Kakashi's team. They were walking down the road with a bridge builder, Tazuna, in the between them. Kakashi and Kurenai were in the front, Naruto and Sasuke behind them, Shino and Sakura on the sides, and Kiba and Hinata bringing up the rear. So Sasuke, you get the Sharingan yet? No, unfortunately, I asked the Hokage like you suggested and he said it would activate it when I needed it. That's all he knew about how to get it, but said he had a scroll on how to advance it. Have you learned to use yours? I can use it, but I still not completely sure what it's capable of. I could show it to you once we stop. I think I'll take you up on that. Sakura looked like she was about to explode. Who does he think he is? He got lucky and beat Sasuke before and now they're talking like they're the best of friends. Kiba, having a higher sense of hearing, heard their conversion and told Hinata. What do you think he'll do? Kiba shrugged. I don't know, but he wouldn't have said anything if he didn't have an idea. He'll probably show him the other eyes just to get him off the subject. Naruto was smiling on the outside, but he was pissed. The old man did it again, I'm stuck with Sasuke for who knows how long, and it's B rank, so I might have to use the Sharingan. Naruto heard Akamaru growl and looked around, not far in front of them was a puddle on each side of the road. It hasn't rained in weeks. He closed his eyes and turned on his Sharingan. He only opened his right eye because Sasuke was on his left. He saw through the jutsu that hid 2 ninja in each puddle. He stopped the flow to his eyes and reached into his kunai pouch. Sasuke saw this and looked for the answer, Naruto nodded at the puddles and Sasuke's eyes widened before he did the same. Kiba and Hinata also had weapons in hand because after Akamaru growled, Kiba told Hinata to look around with her Byakugan and she saw the chakra of the hidden ninja. As the 2 jonin passed the puddles, 2 chains shot out and wrapped around them. The 4 ninja come out and with a quick pull, the chains ripped the 2 jonin in half. Sakura screamed and they laugh. So much for those 2, hand over the old man if you don't want to share their fate. They were all wearing black jumpsuits, like guys, air masks, and metal gauntlets, 2 with chain attachments. Not a chance in hell. Naruto steps forward with a kunai in each hand, the one in his right hand was in a reverse grip. Shino, you and Sakura guard Tazuna. The quiet boy just nodded and spread his arms. Bugs flew out and created a dome around the 3 of them. Watch out for those gauntlets, I can smell the poison from here. Not bad brat, but it won't save you. The 4 genin charged forward, Naruto and Sasuke at the 2 with the chains. They jumped together and connected the chains before launching it at Sasuke. Sasuke jumped out of the way and threw a shuriken and a kunai shortly after. The shuriken caught the chain and hit a tree, while the kunai stuck through the hole of the shuriken and trapped the chain there. Damn it. They released the chain from the gauntlets and separated again. Hinata charged towards her target and while he tried to dodge, she closed half of his chakra points and he fell to his knees, unable to stand or move his arms. With an open palm to the forehead, he fell unconscious. She heard Kiba yell Tsuga and turned to see him hit another in the chest. The force caused the man to hit a tree and collapse to the ground at the base. Sasuke engaged his opponent into jutsu and was barely dodging the metal claws, but the man got careless and got them stuck in the trunk of a tree and Sasuke flip kicked him cause him to fly backwards and crack his head against a rock. He turned at the sound of metal clashing. Naruto was blocking jabbing strikes with his kunai, but one of the strikes changed direction last second and sliced open his arm. Using the kunai in his left hand, he knocked away the gauntlets away and spun around, his right kunai slitting the man's throat. The man gasped for breath and fell to the ground clutching his throat. Dropping the bloodied kunai, he stabbed himself in the right hand with his other to bleed out the poison. The bug dome dropped and Kakashi and Kurenai dropped from a tree. Kurenai went to check on everyone else while Kakashi went to Naruto. Are you alright Naruto? I'll be fine, the poison won't get far and what little that does Kyuubi will take care of. That's not what I meant. That was your first kill, how are you holding up? I'm fine. If these guys were sent to kill Tazuna, I'll bet there's someone worse waiting in waves, they were chunin tops, barely higher than genin. This poison though, is no joke. Looking down at his arm, the wound was turning purple. We bought some anti-poison, but since we don't know what kind it is, I'm not sure how much help it will be. Enough to buy time for him to get rid of it. Kakashi went to grab it out of the first aid kit and Kurenai walked up to him. How is he doing? That mask he wears makes it difficult to tell, but he says he's fine. He's also having a hard time expelling the poison. We're hoping the anti-poison we brought will buy enough time. Hoping? We should head back if it's that serious. We have to keep going, if we head back they'll send more next time. She turned to find Naruto standing behind them. Naruto, we have to get that looked at. It will be fine sensei, I just need some rest. It's already getting better. The purple color was becoming lighter. Kakashi found what he was looking for and gently took Naruto's arm. Hold still. He stuck the needle into Naruto's arm and pushed the plunger. He clenched his fist tight and Kakashi removed it from his arm. Naruto pulled out some bandage wraps and tightly wrapped his hand and arm. The other 5 genin and the bridge builder came up to them. The other 3 are tied up and the gauntlets melted thanks to Sasuke. Alright, then let's get moving. The genin nodded and they surrounded Tazuna again, but the order was changed. Naruto stood on the side while Shino took his place next to Sasuke. Naruto, are you sure you're okay? That wound looked pretty bad. He smiled. You know I've been through worse, I'll be fine. In truth his arm felt like it was on fire, but he wasn't about to admit it to anyone. Kiba nodded and Hinata turned on her Byakugan, what she saw shocked her. His chakra coils were formed in a spiral in his stomach and the poison had spread throughout his whole arm. Red chakra went from the spiral to his arm, she wasn't able to tell if it was gaining any ground against the poison. She turned it off and looked like she was about to cry. Kiba saw this and gave her hand a light squeeze. Naruto wasn't really with it as he was speaking with Kyuubi. This could take a while kid. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with but it's potent and organic. Someone in their ranks has an extension knowledge of herbs. Do what you can, I may not be an expert on herbs, but I know what can speed up the process of expelling it. The only problem is finding it. It would be wise to start, I have only been able to slow it spreading, completely wiping it out could take days. Without a word, Naruto created 20 clones and sent them in every direction. Kiba noticed and quickened his pace a bit. What's with the clones? I have them looking for a herb that will speed up the healing process. Kurenai looked back at him slightly shocked. I didn't know you knew about herbs. I don't know much, but know of a few medical ones. Most of them prefer warmer climates, but I'm hoping to find some. By the time one of the clones came back, they had set up camp and the poison had been pushed back to just under the shoulder. He carried 2 handfuls of the plant, he gave them to Naruto before disappearing. He gave the plants a look over and smelled the blossoms before he ripped a leaf off of one and chewed it. He unwrapped his arm and took the chewed leaf and spread it on the cuts and surrounding area before doing the same with the other leaves on that plant. Here he wrapped it and put the rest of the plants into his pockets. Kurenai, who had been keeping an eye on him since the attack, was sitting not too far from him. What was with all that? You said you know a bit about herbs. I do, enough to know that this particular kind has a poisonous look-alike. The differences are subtle and easy to miss, which is why I checked twice. The first is the easiest to miss, the veins in the leaves of the poisonous one are slightly wider, and the second is they also smell sweeter. Sounds like you know more than just a bit. I stumbled across a book on basic medical herbs when I was visiting the old man a few years ago. So how do you still remember it? 2 ways, first is that he let me keep it and second is that I thought it might be useful, so I read with it on and burned it into my memory. Seems I made the right choice. Maybe, but I still think we should have gotten it looked at by a real doctor. They wouldn't anyway, and if we went back, there is no doubt in my mind that we wouldn't be leaving again for a long time. I would never hear the end of it from Anko or the old man. Anko would hold it over my head as an example of doing something stupid and reckless. The old man would use it as an excuse to keep me doing D-rank missions until I'm promoted. At least you'd be alive. I'm alive now. The poison is being pushed back and I found a plant that will speed things up, there's nothing to worry about sensei. You may be fine physically, but what about mentally? Kakashi told you about the mask huh? She nodded. I wear it to piss off the villagers and I don't when I'm by myself or with you and our team unless they're around. Since we've left, I only used it until we fought those dumbasses because I was pissed the old man teamed us up with Sasuke's team. I still am a little bit, but not as much since they were a big help earlier. I may have been at death's door enough times that it doesn't affect me like it would a normal person. Kakashi looked up from his book and saw that Tazuna was passed out with an empty sake bottle and most of the genin were about to drop. Alright, head to bed. We'll be taking watch in pairs, I'll take the first with Naruto as he's the most awake and then it will be Shino and Sasuke, then Kiba and Sakura, and then Kurenai and Hinata. 4 of them looked depressed, while Kakashi, Shino, Sasuke and Naruto were as happy as they could get. Sakura was upset about not being with Sasuke obviously, Kiba and Hinata wanted to be together, and Kurenai didn't want to take the last watch as it might, she had to stay up after it, and she's not a morning person. Kakashi planned to talk with Naruto, Shino couldn't care more or less, Sasuke was glad he wasn't going to be annoyed by Sakura all night, and Naruto was glad he wasn't stuck with Sasuke. Everyone nodded anyways and head off to bed, while Naruto created some clones to carry to Zuna. So what was the reasoning behind the picks? I put one person on each team that is good at tracking, and someone who is proficient with Taijutsu or Ninjutsu. Expect this one, we're both adept at Ninjutsu and Taijutsu, and you aren't good at tracking, your dogs are. And that's why they keep their noses open and will take care of anyone who comes along. You just want to read your book some more. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. If this is about Dad, I don't want to talk about it until we get to Tizuna's place where I know we can talk in private. Out here there are too many places to hide, and who knows who's still awake or if Shino has his bugs around. I'm not saying that I don't trust him, but the old man said it was my decision, who knows, and I'm not ready for them to know yet. Alright, but I want to know if your team knows or not. Yes they do, Kiba knew almost the whole time we were at the academy, Hinata had every right to hated me for what I did, but she forgave me, and Kurenai, I've known her for years, and she never gave me those looks that the villagers do or called me anything other than my name or kid before she knew it. Kakashi chuckled. Are you sure it had nothing to do with the fact that you? Not another word, Kakashi, or I'll tell Anko where you really hide those books, and you'll have more than just a pile of ashes on your floor to deal with. Kakashi shrugged slightly. And I'll tell Guy that you said your flames of youth burn brighter than his. Kakashi's visible eye widened. You wouldn't. Just imagine what happened to Mizuki and times that by 10. Kakashi shuddered at the thought. The next morning, Kurenai was pissed at Kakashi, so much so that he was too afraid to take out his book. They walked from dawn to midday when they stopped for lunch. While they were eating, however, she fell asleep and everyone was too afraid of what would happen if they woke her up. They were in a bit of a predicament as they needed to keep moving. Naruto walked up to her, shaking his head. He gently picked her up and carried her bridal style as they continued to walk. After 15 minutes, Naruto was blushing lightly as Kurenai had snuggled closer to him in her sleep. Kakashi chuckled lightly. If the men of Konoha could see you, Naruto, they would be green with envy. Naruto's blush became brighter, while Kakashi smiled under his mask. Kakashi couldn't help it, he loved to embarrass the boy. I can't wait to see Anko's face when she hears about this. Neither of you will ever hear the end of it. If Naruto weren't afraid of waking Kurenai, he would have yelled at Kakashi at the top of his lungs. Instead he had to settle for glaring at him and silently plotting revenge. They had reached the ocean in an hour, and Naruto stared out over the water in awe. A boat was waiting for them, but when he tried put her in, he found that Kurenai didn't want to let him go. He couldn't get out of her grip and decided to just walk beside the boat. He went out about 10 feet before realizing the boat wasn't moving. Most of them were shocked. Are you coming? It was 2 hours later that Kurenai started to stir. She didn't open her eyes as she felt something warm against her. She thought about where she was and came to the conclusion that Kakashi was carrying her. She squirmed around a bit. I wouldn't move too much, Kurenai-sensei, we're over the ocean and you might fall in. Her eyes shot open. Naruto. That's me. Who did you think I was? She glared toward the boat. Oh, I see why you were moving. What happened? You fell asleep at lunch and everyone was too scared to wake you up, so I carried you. She saw a slight blush on his face. We have to kill Kakashi before he gets back to Konoha. Why? He plans to tell Anko. So, it's not like anything happened. The blush increased and Naruto looked away, Kurenai paled. What happened? While we were walking, you kind of snuggled closer to me and when I tried to put you in the boat, you wouldn't let go. Her eye closed and her head fell back to his shoulder, he smiled. I probably would have done the same. He kept walking, unaware that she hadn't really fainted. What am I doing? I should have asked to be put down, but why did I pretend to faint? It is pretty comfortable and warm. No. Bad thoughts, he's my student, I shouldn't be thinking like this, I can't get involved with a kid. But he's going to be my student forever, and once he's older I could have a relationship with him. She put her face in the crook of his neck and felt him stiffen before relaxing again. She smiled inwardly at his reaction. Don't you two look cozy? Kurenai groaned inwardly. You ruin all my fun, Kakashi. This is like a dream come true for you, Naruto. Would you keep it down? It's bad enough that you and Anko tease me about it, Kiba would never let up if he found out. Found out what? What else is he hiding? She woke up for a bit but fainted after I told her you plan to tell Anko about this. Now I have to. Wait, you weren't going to? I was thinking about it, but now it's too good to pass up. I wish I had a camera, the two of you look so cute. Imagine everyone's surprise if they saw a picture of Konoha's Ice Queen in the arms of a 12-year-old. How long has it been going now, 3 or 4 years? 4, now drop it, or I swear that guy's challenges will become more frequent. Even though she couldn't see it, she knew Kakashi was pale-faced. Okay, I'll just leave the two of you alone. Don't do anything too serious. As long as you don't say anything else, I won't do anything. I meant with her. Your mom's gonna kill me as it is for getting you addicted to ramen. And I don't even want to know what you dad will do if you turn into a pervert because of me or Jiraiya. Speaking of Iro Senin, has he sent any word of when he'll be back? He said he'd try to be there in a few months. He seemed surprised that Rin was my mom, wasn't he ever told that she was pregnant? She was his niece after all. We sent word to him, but he must have never got it. Half an hour later, Kurenai woke up again and thanked Naruto before asking to be set down. Around that time, a thin mist appeared and they got their first look at the bridge Tazuna was building. They said goodbye to the ferryman and start to move inland. Naruto became more paranoid as they continued. The mist is getting thicker as we go further, but it should get thinner. He used a demonic genjutsu and turned on his Sharingan. He saw through the mist with ease like Hinata, who was using her Byakugan. Both he and Kiba heard something move behind them and threw a kunai each. Everyone turned to see a white rabbit run from a bush. Its color is wrong for this time of year. Kakashi's eye widened. Get down. He pulled down Tazuna and everyone followed suit except Naruto. He heard the sound of something flying through the air and found it quickly. The Sharingan slowed down its movement so it was visible. He reached into the air quickly with his bandaged arm and grabbed hold of the handle. Impressive, and here I thought that the Jonin had taken care of the demon brothers, maybe I was wrong. A figure walked out of the mist, the lower half of his face covered in bandages, he had no eyebrows and had a Kiri headband off to the side of his head. He wasn't wearing a shirt but had a leather strap from his striped blue pants around his neck and attached to itself and black and white arm warmers. But I should expect no less for someone trained under either copycat Kakashi Haddock or the Genjutsu mistress Kurenai Yuhi. Both actually, along with a couple others. Who are you? Zabuza Mamachi, demon of the hidden mist. A former member of the Kiri no Shinobi Gatonin Ananin Shu.